RAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Nice afternoon on the way, well above normal. High temperatures almost 70 degrees. Overnight tonight, it's also mild. We'll see an overnight low near 50, some patchy fog, and then mostly sunny to partly cloudy tomorrow, near a record high at 74.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 3 o'clock, check if your money. Dow Jones is up 24 points to 44,568.
Three on two, it's Cooper to the rack, put it up, counted in a foul! It's an avalanche! Cooper faces up with 5 and 4, drives Davis, spins, waiting, fades away, and hits! A dagger at the buzzer! Faces up, backs him down, here's a double team, cross court, James a touch pass for a Knipple 3. Boy, they've started this half well. Paint back up top, James, plenty of top 12 to shoot. He'll drive, kick back up top, Tyrese a 3. Good!
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan on a Monday. I'm Tim Donnelly, Dennis Cox producing the show. How you feel, Triangle College basketball fans? The shade of blue you wear or red, probably deciding how excited or not excited you are coming into today, coming into the week. Probably decides what your input into our Monday sound-off is going to be. You wear Duke blue, you might be calling to brag. You wear Carolina blue, you might be calling into vent. You wear NC State red, you're probably calling into vent as well. We'll open up the phone lines at about 3:30 for our Monday sound-off, so start gathering your thoughts and bookmarking the phone number, 919-860-5326. That's the Heister Automotive Group hotline. Turns out the rivalry didn't hide the fact that the Duke basketball team had a pretty big basketball advantage over UNC. Right on Friday we said it. I hoped that the rivalry would induce enough chaos that it would be a close game, because everywhere you looked basketball-wise, matchup-wise, it said Duke was going to win by a bunch. Well, the rivalry didn't equalize it the way we were hoping, because Duke won by a bunch. They won by 17, and it felt like more. And you know how you know it's bad? I listened to Tyler Hansborough on a podcast, Field of 68. Tyler Hansborough, I mean, I just scribbled down notes of compliments that he gave to Duke. He said you have to give John Shire a ton of credit. He said not only was Duke more talented, but they played way harder. He called Cooper Flagg generational. It's coming from Tyler Hansborough, who is as synonymous with UNC basketball as anybody. Those are compliments for Duke. That should tell you what kind of game it was. And by the way, Hansborough is also a high-level basketball mind, so he's not going to pull the wool over our eyes. Like, he's going to call it as he sees it, and that's what he saw. Duke is one of the biggest teams in the country. UNC tried to go small, started 4 guards for a large portion of the day, had 3 guys 6'3" or under out there on the floor together. Duke doesn't have anyone in their rotation below 6'5", and it looked like it. Duke ate it up. And Duke's young guys looked like they were comfortable in the chaos. John Shire, the head coach, talking about the young players showing their maturity their first time in the rivalry.
They sure met it. I mean, you always worry just when you see different moments or different environments, how is your team going to respond? We've really been focused this season on just what you can control at the end of the day. And so, we focus on our defense. We feel if our defense is there, our offense is going to come. I thought Sion makes so many plays, man. He makes so many plays and makes it easier for everybody on the court. Our freshmen didn't look like freshmen. And they didn't even know you burn benches, actually. So our whole team, they didn't even know that happens. And so I love the fact they were just focused on the task at hand of coming ready, not just to play, but to compete. They sure met it. I mean.
How funny is that? They didn't even know. I said, well, what's that smoke I smell? Hilarious move.
Oh, I was outside Cameron after the game, and it was like, oh, there's some ash drifting over where I am.
Should we let somebody know? Somebody's car? Like, what's going on here? Oh, you're just the players that won the game? Here's the deal. What do you do? Like you're maybe the biggest team in the country, right? And Chris Lee, who covers sports for WRAL, put out a really cool like green screen video all about the height of Duke's team. And he pointed out Duke's right now, their average height is like 2 inches higher than the NBA's average height. This is a massive team and skilled, but massive in height. What do you do when you are a recklessly gigantic college basketball team and you face a team who rolls out like 6'1", 6'1", 6'3", like that out to you? And the biggest guy in their starting lineup, 6'8", Van Allen Lubin. They didn't even start one of their 6'10 plus centers. They start an undersized post at the 5. What do? Well, you think this should be our most efficient game that we can remember. Right? They simply can't get a hand in our face the way other teams can. If we want to bully ball and go down low and get high percentage shots, we should. How does that materialize? Well, Duke shot 53% from the field, 50% from 3. 50% from 3. That tracks. At times, UNC was helpless defensively. I'm remixing a joke that Adam Gold said earlier this year, okay? Adam Gold, who you just heard, he hosts the show right before this one on 99.9 The Fan, the Adam Gold Show. When Martin Necas was on his absolute heater earlier this year for the Canes, Adam would make the joke, if you get a pass from Martin Necas, shoot. Right? It doesn't matter where you are, doesn't matter if you have the angle, doesn't matter if you're covered, shoot. Because Martin Necas was on such a point-producing heater that if there was an opportunity for him to get an assist, the hockey gods were going to make sure it came through. So if you receive an offering from Necas, shoot. I'm going to just remix it a little bit. If the opposing team double teams Cooper Flagg and he passes out of the double team to you, catch and shoot. Don't look around. Where's the closeout defender? Who's the rotation? You're going to catch it. You're going to be open. Catch in rhythm. Rise. Knock it down. Proctor did it. Knipple did it. We've seen Gillis do it pretty well. The guys down low have done it well. Catch. Launch. Cooper Flagg, real deal. And actually, right, the Duke-UNC game is the ultimate, like, casual fans are introduced to these teams game. I've lived all over the country. People from all over, this is their first time really watching Duke. I got a lot of Cooper Flagg texts. I got a lot from not not college basketball fans, but basketball fans, mostly NBA fans. I got a couple like, oh, so this is like a tank for the lottery year. Cooper's that legit? And I had to explain to them, yes, he is. I just read, actually, I'm in the process of reading the myth-making article for Saquon Barkley on The Athletic.
Okay.
Where you go back and you talk to college coaches and they have the story of, right, he got, our first practice, he got a handoff up the middle and he jump cut to the outside and ran 70 yards for a touchdown. And then when he came back, he said, Coach, should I have pressed that to the hole more? And that's when I knew Saquon Barkley was different. We are living that out for Cooper Flagg. There's like a story today from that game, right? Cooper's going to go be the number 1 pick, and he's going to be an all-star at some point, and The Athletic is going to write that article about Cooper Flagg, and John Shire is going to be saying, he didn't even know the benches were going to be burned after the game because he was so locked in on the game. I don't know why I gave John Shire that voice, the doo-ba-doo, but that's it'll be in writing. You won't hear it, so good on you, John. Those stories are happening right now for Cooper. And on the opposite side, UNC, this is near bottom for a school like UNC. I don't want to say it can't get worse because they still have like 9-10 games left. But if you're the University of North Carolina being blown out like that by Duke to where it was in hand and you had to fly back with a vengeance in the second half to lose by 17. That's going to sting in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, you need a couple of late buckets just to get it under 20.
That's going to sting. And I mean, it stings just saying it out loud. And it didn't feel flukish. I want that to be clear. Mm-hmm. There are games that turn into blowouts because a team is just on fire, right? They're hitting fadeaway bank-in threes without calling it. It's just one of those days. No, like Duke, especially on defense, when they switched everything, mm-hmm. there was nothing they could do. When Common Malawash, 7'2", gets switched on to 6'1", reigning ACC Player of the Year, perimeter threat R.J. Davis, stays in front of him, gets a hand in the face to contest, and plays great defense, 25 feet from the bucket. What are you going to do with that?
Pray.
That's your matchup. That's what you hope for.
It's interesting because Hubert Davis talked last week after the loss to Pitt about how Pitt switched everything, both on-ball and off-ball 1 through 5. Just switched everything. And Duke did the exact same thing. Like, there clearly is a blueprint on how to slow down UNC.
Yep.
It's that. And it's ironic that it's a former Duke guy and Coach Capel at Pitt is the one that laid the groundwork, and Duke just followed it. They really did.
I would say, do you think Shire pulled the brotherhood card and, called up Capel? But Duke is smart enough to watch film of that game and recognize they don't need the wink hat tip. This is what we did. They can see and if your perimeter players, and I thought Ian Jackson was this guy, but even he struggled. If your perimeter players aren't prepared to beat posts when they come all the way out from the bucket, especially because Duke, if Common Malawash is already out there, rim protector could be Cooper Flagg, could be a bunch of other guys. It's tough. You're not going to find a ton of success. Your offense didn't take care of the ball, didn't find high percentage shots, didn't challenge Duke as far as foul trouble, making it more physical, and your offense wasn't able to beat mismatches so much that Duke was almost welcoming them. They were switching everybody. They had 3 players on their team taller than everyone else you had on the floor. That's as stark a difference I've seen in that rivalry. We've seen blowouts. That's as stark a difference, eye test-wise, I've seen in the rivalry. And that's a tough one for Hubert Davis to answer for.
Hey, you mentioned Cooper Flagg. Dude set the tone. He either scored or assisted on the first 15 points for Duke. And then Con Knippel in the second half, in the first 3.5 minutes, scores 9 points.
Knippel had a good day. And he's been streaky this year. So, when that happens, when Cooper Flagg starts knocking down threes, it was a good day for Duke, and that makes it more difficult for UNC. But it felt like if it was a bad day for Duke, it would have been a 10-point win rather than a 25 seeming win. We'll break it down more. There's so much more to get to in that game here on the drive. But also there's NC State having a ho-hum, that's an NC State loss against Clemson. Just as frustrating as anything UNC is doing. But before we get to that, here's Dennis Cox.
Folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. The best time of year for football is finally here. The big game has arrived, and fans are excited to see who will be hoisting the trophy in New Orleans. You can get in on all the action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Check out their big game giveaway promo for your chance at $1 million in prizes. 25 winners will walk away with $10K in cash, and 7,500 winners will get $100 in bonus bets. No deposit or bet required. Opt in today in the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. When we come back, NC State lost to Clemson. Should we rank the most frustrating parts of that one? Because there were a bunch of them. Stick around.
Listen for that. Did he just do that?
Johnson trying to step back for a 3. Bring it up. Left side. Boy, that was cold-blooded.
The deep looks from downtown.
Damas from the right block. Gives to Hawkins. Straight on. Triple. Good. They left him open, and he makes him pay.
The get that out of here's.
Bonner to the basket. Rejected by Renew, who saw that one coming.
Your exclusive home for the Final Four. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Tim Donnelly here for Zero Res. February is the month for love. Lucky for you, Zero Res is going to spread the love to your rug. It's the Love Your Rug Special. Have you ever Googled the company Zero Res? They have a 4.9 rating, and they want to come in and take all the nasty dirt, dander, bacteria, and germs that keep recirculating again and again and again throughout your house from your carpets and floors and get rid of them. They want you to love your floors the way you should this February. So visit them online at ZeroResRaleigh.com or call 919-995-0000 and get the Love Your Rug Special. That's 3 rooms of carpets cleaned starting at $109 and $100 off air duct cleaning on top of it. It's happening this month from Zero Res. ZeroResRaleigh.com or 919-995-0000.
Hey, Mom, I've been meaning to talk to you about some new COVID information I saw online.
Uh-huh.
I read that black folks like us with certain conditions like diabetes, heart disease, mental health conditions, or being 50 and older, like you, are at high risk.
Boy, you sound like a commercial.
I'm just saying. I know you love your ginger teas and essential oils, but remember, there are treatment options for COVID-19.
I promise if I get sick again, I'll call my doctor to ask about my options.
Visit WeTalkWeRise.com to learn more. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Adam Gold in studio with my man Patrick Day from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. Everything for the exterior of your home, but it's also everything for the peace of mind of the customer. Talk to me about the trust factor and everything else that you guys offer.
I got to tell you, I think one of the biggest things for us is we don't take any payment from you for any of your home improvement needs until we're done with the project. I hear stories all the time about people putting down deposits with companies, 25, 50% of the project total overall, and they don't even know, they don't show up.
Right.
You've lost whatever percentage you put down, that's how much power you lost already. Right? So with us, you pay nothing until we're done. Typically we're not the least expensive, and we're certainly not the most expensive. You get 3 or 4 estimates, we're going to fall right there in the middle. But, you're going to have a warranty that's lifetime, transferable for 10 years on any of the products we sell typically. And we've been around since 1961. You can trust us. We've been around forever.
It is about trust, and I think you guys are the most trustworthy business that I know. Aluminum Company of North Carolina, aluminumcompany.com.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
As of 9 a.m. this morning, our EV trucking company is officially in operation.
Andrew's zero-emission trucks are driving the transportation category forward.
We'll make driving safer, easier, and less stressful. Now our technology needs to keep up with demand.
He needs to put pedal to the metal on hiring more software engineers.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, Tim Donnelly here with a game day tip from WakeMed Heart and Vascular. Nearly half of all adults in the United States have high blood pressure, putting them at risk for stroke and heart disease. Managing blood pressure levels starts with a checkup with your doctor and knowing your numbers. If your blood pressure is high, you and your doctor can team up to achieve better results. Get in the game and know your numbers. Learn more about caring for your heart at wakemed.org.
Lobs it right, Styles. He steps into a triple, had to have it right of the circle and gets it. Speaking of pick and pops.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Monday SoundOff coming up about 12 minutes. Have your thoughts ready. Call in. And we'll do it about 3:30. We'll open up the Heister Automotive Group hotline. We'll give you the number then. Right now, we need to talk State. State lost to Clemson over the weekend. You just heard a bucket from Dontrez Styles, which Styles is a bright spot, but it's also a bit of a, okay, so it wasn't the leading scorer thing, because now you have a pretty efficient leading scorer over the last 2 games, and you still did the NC State this season thing, which is, again, under 4 minutes. It's a 2-possession ball game. You're clawing back to make it something, and I mean, anyone watching has the inevitable feeling that there's no other way this game's going to end. You lose by 10. Right? So often, I actually think, like, as sports fans, we lean the other way because we want the greatness. We want the dramatic. People remember comebacks, right? If you're down 12 and suddenly you're down 6, our sports fan, like, we're trained by Disney movies to go, like, here it comes. They're on. Like, we almost think they're favored to win because they've limited the gap. With State, that doesn't happen at all. They cut it to 6 points with like 3 minutes and change, 3 minutes and 40 seconds left, and I'm going, all right, this is This is where their back muscles tighten. This is where they start to play hero ball. This is where the gap goes from 2 possessions to 5 possessions, and then sure enough, it happens. Like, you don't want to be right in those situations. Kevin Keatts, their head coach, reflected on 2 close losses during the week, and then both ended up being double-digit losses, but that's what's been happening in recent games.
If you look at those 2 games, you say you're right there. You look at them and you say, man, we have gotten better. We just didn't win a few games that could have went the other way earlier. And so if you win those games early and you don't play well against, or you play Duke and Clemson the way you do, now you're saying, well, man, they got a chance. That being said, we have been in every game because our heart's always on the line, and our guys show up every night. Sometimes it comes to just maybe the other guys has a few more better players than we do, and we just got to keep figuring it out and keep plugging.
6 straight losses now for State. Obviously, Duke is a different beast, and we've talked about it. They're head and shoulders above the ACC this year. But all of the other – and even Duke, I don't know why I'm separating them out. Every single one of those games should have felt gettable in the second half, and they just didn't. We've talked about trust a lot, right? It doesn't always feel like they trust each other in the waning moments, right? If I give it up to you, will you make the pass to get it to the best shot? I don't know, so I might as well put it up. That's the hero ball. Well, if they don't trust each other, why would we trust you? I'll give them one out just momentarily. Could it be the sickness that's passing through the area? Some people may have observed that a little more exhaustion from a team that normally doesn't show that. Maybe, but I'm not going to give them an excuse if they aren't asking for it, right? If you're not bringing it up, I'm not just going to create one out of thin air. Dontrez Styles is scoring. 24 points in that one, 18 the previous game, even with some foul trouble. Knocking down threes. How many times have we said they need to have a consistent shooter? Well, over the last 2 games, he's been that, 6 of 8 in this past game. I guess it's not a leading scorer thing anymore. That was earlier in the year, I was convinced that was it. There were too many guys trying to be the lead efficient scorer, and none of them were really living up to it, and we didn't even know if a leading scorer type player was on the roster. But Styles, at least over the last 2, Duke and now Clemson, which are 2 of the better teams in the ACC, he's been scoring well enough, and the final results, the story didn't change. This has happened to me a few times, like with like a plumbing situation. You're like, oh, I found it. It's this right here. You fix it, keeps leaking. You're like, oh, no, that wasn't the problem.
Uh-oh.
It's got to be something else, right? Most of the year, I thought it was the leading scorer thing. They didn't have a dude that was going to score 20 efficiently and make it happen. Now you have a guy that's scoring efficiently, at least over the last couple, and it's still the same result. It's like, ooh, man. Turns out that wasn't the source of the leak. We better go back to square one. Frustration is the name of the game for NC State this year. And you don't have, and I don't want to say the bailout, but there was always a fallback in the ACC, which was everybody makes the ACC tournament. You could always win the ACC tournament and go marching on to the NCAA tournament. So no matter how bad and dreary and sad and frustrating it got, you could always point towards we just have to be ready when that ACC tournament rolls around. It's not the case anymore. You miss the ACC tournament, you just have a long offseason to lick your wounds. And that's becoming a real situation for NC State.
By the way, they are tied for 16th in the ACC out of 18 with Boston College, and they actually host Boston College on Saturday the 15th. So Saturday of next week, they host Boston College in a must-win game just to still possibly not make the ACC tournament.
We have some ACC breaking-ish news. Why don't you go ahead and fire that?
Yep, that.
There it is. I think it's about time we say goodbye to the old guard in ACC basketball completely. This, according to Tallahassee.com, Jim Henry, the author, Florida State basketball coach Leonard Hamilton to resign after 23 years. He will coach to the end of the year, but his contract is up at the end of the season, and and he will not be returning. He'll be sailing off into the sunset along with Jim Larinaga earlier this year, and of course the I call it the old guard of Krzyzewski, Williams, Boeheim. That whole squad is going to be on the way out.
Ironically, lost to Boston College just this past Saturday. Turning the ball over late, like just terrible late game management by his team and by himself, Coach Hamilton, and they lose to Boston College 77-76. I don't know if this had something to do with it, but it's like, hey, you know what? Maybe it's just time to move forward.
He doesn't have the maybe accolades as the other coaches I mentioned, but there's always the what if of the COVID year. Florida State was one of, if not the best team in the country, the way they were playing, and everything shut down. So he may have had some more accolades, but that's a what if. ACC, the basketball on the men's side, not looking fantastic. Some new superstar coaches have to start making their inroads, or else it's just going to get worse before it gets better. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We will open up the phone lines, 919-860-5326, Heister Automotive Group hotline for your sounding off, 919-860-5326. But first, here's Dennis Cox.
Folks, it's back. You're asking what's back? Well, let me tell you. Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. Your chance to win a custom motorcycle is back, folks. It's that simple. The Carolina Hurricanes, Law Tigers, Tobacco Road Harley-Davidson, and Shiny Side Paint, they're all teaming up once again to give one lucky fan a custom Caniacs motorcycle. Simple. Go to caniacsbike.com to enter for your chance to win. You can see pictures of the motorcycle right there. Again, it's a custom built, custom painted. It's got Cane's colors. It's got the logos, decals, the whole bit on the motorcycle. It's absolutely gorgeous bike, and it's a custom build. It truly is a one-of-a-kind bike. It is one of one, and it can be yours. And all you got to do is enter. Go to caniacsbike.com. Picture yourself on this beautiful, nice day out. It's sunny. Feels wonderful. Cruising around town on your own custom motorcycle. Sounds pretty awesome to me. I can't win it. You can. Go to caniacsbike.com. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have Monday Sound Off. We let you sound off, but you have to call in. Heister Automotive Group hotline open now. 919-860-5326. Call in now to sound off on UNC basketball, Hubert Davis. NC State men's basketball, Kevin Keatts. Duke, if you want to gloat a little bit. Canes, they lost over the weekend. Panthers, I don't know if you got a draft take. Anything. The sky is the limit. 919-860-5326. Heister Automotive Group hotline open now. Sounding off. Monday Sound Off next.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection. One that helps better their everyday through the things they value most. Friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
John Porcelain here for my friends at Buffalo Brothers. You know the big game is right around the corner, and it's time to start thinking about big game parties. Don't be that guy that doesn't get the best wings in town. So order your wings today from Buffalo Brothers. Come and get Buffalo Brothers Big Game Special. 2 large pizzas and 20 wings for just $50. That's food for the whole family at more than 20% off. But remember, order today as pickup times fill up fast. Buffalo Brothers. Aw, man, now I want wings.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win, breakaway, pick six, three-point shot, underdog win, buzzer beater, shootout, walk-off, and absolutely every play in between is amazing. From football to basketball and hockey to baseball, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus only.
Tim Donnelly here. And fellas, Valentine's Day is right around the corner. It's time to start thinking about the perfect gift for your special someone. Bailey's Fine Jewelry has curated a Valentine's gift guide to make your shopping experience seamless and impressive. Think of Valentine's Day like a big championship game. You want to be well prepared. You want to have a great game plan, and hopefully at the end, someone will have a new piece of jewelry and a big old smile on their face. Only I'm not talking championship rings. I'm talking about a well-chosen piece of jewelry from Bailey's that's not just a gift, it's a lasting memory. Now, if you need a game plan, the gift guide at BaileyBox.com is perfect for making sure you have the entire playbook at your disposal. Top designers, heart-shaped jewelry, Bailey's collections, all with the exceptional and personalized service that Bailey's is known for. So look up BaileyBox.com and make sure to check out their Valentine's gift guide so we can all get a big W on Valentine's this year.
Is your plumbing outdated or just not getting the job done? Call Newcomb & Company to see how we can help get your home operating at peak performance. Our experienced plumbers can repair or replace faucets, toilets, piping, garbage disposals, water heaters, drain cleaning, and more. Become a Comfort Contract customer to receive priority service and a 15% discount on service calls and repairs. Turn to the experts today. Call 919-862-3000 or find us at newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company. Your comfort is our business.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? HIMS can help. Get started at hims.com/joy. Through hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. All kinds of beers and thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low. It just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup and delivery available, you'll always find what you love, only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
What could you do with an extra $75,000 right now, or even a couple $100,000? If you own a home, you can get that money in less than a week with Loan Pronto. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto is the leader in quickly converting your home equity into cold, hard cash. You can pay off all your credit cards or start that home remodel. Loan Pronto has several easy options to let you access the cash from your home. There's virtually no paperwork, no cumbersome process, no junk fees, and often no appraisal. Listen, the average homeowner now has over $300,000 in equity. That's your money. Use it. One client got $150,000 out and paid off all their credit cards, 2 car loans, and a personal loan, cutting their monthly expenses by $1,500. You can get approved in as little as 1 day. So act now with no hard credit pull up front. LoanPronto.com, 919-381-1760. Get the money you need for anything. 919-381-1760, LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
3 on 2, it's Cooper to the rack, put it up, counted and a foul! It's an avalanche, and it's 17-6.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is Monday, it is 3:30, and that means it is time for a Monday SoundOff. Heister Automotive Group hotline is open for your calls. You get to sound off on everything that took place over the weekend. 919-860-5326 is the number to call. We'll start with Dean in Rocky Mount, wants to sound off on the Wolfpack. Dean, thank you for calling in. Go ahead and take it away.
Well, we were high after the Duke game last week, and then we crashed down to earth in the Clemson game. It was not pretty. And there were some guys that you really were counting on to be good who were not. Now, some bright sides, Dontrez Styles for the second straight game had a phenomenal game. And Mike James, while not healthy, has made progress, according to reports I saw earlier today. Now, I do want to talk about some NC State positives.
Okay.
NC State wrestling team picked up its 12th straight win against UNC on Friday night with a late comeback. And NC State's gymnastics team set a season high that if they were to average the whole season would place them top 13 in the country, including second in the Atlantic Coast Conference. And NC State's hockey team won the Roy Cooper's Governor's Cup on Sunday by beating UNC 4-1. There's a lot of negatives, but if you look in the right places, there's a lot of positives, including a top 15 showdown against number 10 Duke tonight in the Play for K game.
Dean, we can always depend on you to bring us the non-men's basketball and football positives from NC State. I appreciate the call, and as always, call back in anytime. That is, make no mistake about it, something that you can lock in on. I also want to point out that I don't know for State fans if that actually negates much, right? It's like kind of a solid, but football and men's basketball, women's basketball, which, by the way, women's basketball is very good. They are kind of the things that you hang your hat on.
You'll hear women's hoops on the Fan tonight, 7 o'clock. Taking on Duke.
Everything I say about ACC basketball being down does not apply to the women. All 3 teams in the triangle in the top 15. There's 7 ACC schools in the top 25. They're doing fine. It's the men that need to boost their...
Pick up the slack.
Yeah, exactly. For lack of a better term. Tristan in Wake Forest, you are next up on the Heister Automotive Group hotline, which is open for your calls, 919-860-5326. Tristan, go ahead and sound off on the Duke Blue Devils.
Yeah, so that was a good introduction coming into the segment, with the whole Avalanche call. So, big Duke fan. Just want to say how proud I am of this team this year, considering how young we are. And what Shire has done over a very short amount of time is outstanding. That win over Carolina, I mean, I don't know. There's a loss for words for me for that, but I feel like this year is national championship or bust. What do we think about that?
Love it. Appreciate the call. They were my pick to win the national championship preseason. When you look at the assembled talent, you just figured Shire had to find the right ways to put it together, and it would be all good there. I also want to fight back, and I'm guilty of it, right? Because so many of their headliners are young. Tyrese Proctor's in his 3rd year in college basketball. Sion James has been in college basketball for a long time. Mason Gillis, Malik Brown when he's healthy. Not everybody is brand new, just the main characters, right? Just the Cooper Flagg, Con Knipple, Malawash, Isaiah Evans. They have their share of new. Transfers aren't the same as freshmen when it comes to, like, you still got to assemble and build chemistry, but they're not the exact same.
And especially a guy like Mason Gillis, to me, a guy who is understood as a role player, Big Ten 6th man of the year last year for Purdue, gets to a national championship game with that team. He understands what that process is like and getting to that point. That's something that's an experience that current guys on the team can really lean on.
And he plays, if you were playing Cooper Flagg's role, it's very difficult to adjust because you have to know everybody's tendencies. Gillis, I mean, catch and shoot, that's the same in the Big Ten as it is the ACC. You stand in the corner, catch the ball, you launch.
Catch, shoot, play defense.
There you go. Vince and Raleigh on the Heister Automotive Group hotline, 919-860-5326. Call in if you want to sound off. Vince and Raleigh is up next. Vince, appreciate the call. Sound off on the Wolfpack.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Thanks for taking the call. Yeah, I was like you, Tim. I thought that this basically was like we needed to identify, a guy we know can get us a bucket when we need it. And I thought it was Hill for a while. And then Dontre, I always had hopes for him because, he was recruited by Carolina.
Started his career at Carolina, yep.
Yep. So, but honestly, I think you're onto something. I think you're right in that it wasn't about that. What they really don't have is consistency of effort and consistency of, not on the other hand, consistency of execution. So I'll give an example. Their defense will play excellent for a while. Like they got back in the second half to a lead at 39-38 against Clemson. They tied it in the second half against Duke, came back to take the lead with under a minute left against Carolina. But then they flubbed somehow. A mistake against Clemson in the next three or four possessions, they were down 7 after taking the lead. They'll go into a little bit of a defensive, I don't know, like they just have they go blank out there for a little while, make silly mistakes. And the other thing is the offense. As we know, this is the other thing. That's effort. Mm-hmm. The other is the execution. At one point in the Clemson game, Clemson did not score for 8 minutes on the game clock. We scored 3 baskets, 2 threes and a 2. So we scored 8 points and took the lead. But they had a chance to really take the game over there and just didn't capitalize. And Clemson came out, cut that way down by halftime. And then we went into our typical 4-minute second half slump where we don't score at all, and then they pulled away. So those are the 2 things that I think we really were missing. It wasn't Hill or Styles. I think it's like being able to shoot consistently as a team, and also not playing consistent defense. And I think those are hard to fix. So having said that, with my whining, that'll be the end of my call. You guys can, follow up and tell me your thoughts after I sign off. Thanks a lot, Tim.
Thank you, Vince. Appreciate the call. A lot of thoughts there. Really, the only thing I'd push back on is, this is ACC basketball. It's a game of runs. You're going to make run. Your defense isn't going to be great. Like, other teams are going to score 8 straight. It's going to happen, and sometimes it's how you deal with that is the difference. It's not that your defense is never going to give up, a little bit of a run, because as our coach used to say, when I played football in college, it was the other team's on scholarship too, which I always thought was funny because for part of that I was a walk-on, and I'm going like, hey, let's not put us all in the same bucket. But
easy, buddy.
Yeah, but I guess now it would be like the other team gets NIL money too, which not as much as us, or too much more than us. It's not equal like it used to be. Christian in Chapel Hill, I'm surprised it took us this long on a Monday sound off to get to somebody that wanted to sound off on Hubert Davis. The phone line is open if any of you want to join in, 919-860-5326. It's the Heister Automotive Group hotline. Christian in Chapel Hill, go ahead and sound off on the head coach of the Tar Heels.
Hi, Tim. I think I have a bit of a different angle than you might be expecting here. I just got to say I'm a little ashamed by how we're talking about Coach Davis right now. Yes, we played the most complete team at home in one of the scariest arenas, and we're starting 2 freshmen. But I just got to say, Coach Davis, he's taken us to a Final Four. He won the biggest game for us since the Natty. I just got to say,
here's the question, though, right? If you're going to address Duke as one of the most complete teams in the country, why isn't North Carolina also one of the most complete teams in the country?
Hubert said it this offseason. Well, we didn't have the money for a lot of these guys. And the year before, we went out and we got Harrison Ingram, who got drafted. We got Cormac Ryan, who's playing in the G League. And we found the perfect fits. We just didn't find him this year. And we just got to go back and find him next year.
I think that's what, and I'm not like team fire Hubert, but I think that's where the fan base is gonna push back. It's you're North Carolina. It's not okay to get the right recruits every other year, right? It's not okay to be okay every other year and hit on it every third year or whatever it ends up being. There is a level of consistency that is the standard and expectation with the Tar Heels.
Well, the way I'd push back on that is that Coach Williams, he was incredible, but his last 2 years still weren't as good as Hubert in his down years. And we're going to have the money this offseason. We're going to get a big. It's going to get better. I just don't see how you can force a coach out who's been to a Final Four, who defeated Coach K in his last game, when the other coach down the road that we seem to be so jealous of hasn't even been there yet.
By the way, correct me if I'm wrong on this, Dennis. Roy made the tournament in his last year, right? I don't believe anyone's missed the tournament twice in 4 years since Matt Doherty, and Roy did like that. They had the COVID year, and then he made it, and then he was out. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I have to go back and look and check and make sure on that.
So like Hubert has already missed the tournament once, and I guess the most of the outrage that is brewing right now is kind of under the assumption that if he doesn't make it again this year, if they go on a run, win 9 straight, including a win against Duke, I do think it'll quiet down. But would your opinion change at all if he misses the tournament again this year?
I think the team is about as good as they are at this point, and whether or not they do it is mostly luck. Once we got Cade Tyson and Ben Allen Lubin, and they didn't seem to be the players that we thought they were, the fate was kind of sealed for the season, unfortunately. But next year we're going to have the money to get such a higher caliber of transfers, and I really think that Hubert's going to learn from this. We're going to bring in a GM, and we're going to find a lot better fits. I just don't want to throw the baby out of the bathwater because we played a team that was, let's face it, it's the best-built team in the country this year.
I also don't want to. I don't want to pretend like any of the reactions we're having are just to the Duke game. They've lost 4 of their last 5.
Yeah, it's just
their only win in that group is an overtime win over Boston College, who's one of the worst teams in the entire.
Jogs over to a shooter and doesn't put his hand up on a closeout.
See, the hard part for me is you're separating a lot between coach and other, right? Like, oh, we missed on a couple of transfers. Who missed on them, right? Oh, R.J. Davis isn't doing whatever you just said, getting his hand up on defense. whose responsibility is it to make sure the players are executing, right? I'm not saying it's all Hubert. Again, I'm not team like throw Hubert out immediately, but I am acknowledging that the head coach answers for everything that happens in a program.
Yes, that's true. I just don't see how this is going to be the case going forward. I mean, we're hiring a GM this summer, which should have happened a long time ago, when we're learning each season.
All right.
And it's not like Hubert's been horrible every year. In fact, he's had 2 incredible seasons.
All right, I appreciate the call. Call back in anytime, and I love hearing from a UNC fan defending Hubert because, I mean, at least on my social media, there's not many out there right now.
Yeah, it's generally the opposite. By the way, Roy Williams missed the NCAA tournament once in his time with Carolina. It was the 2009-2010 season. They went to the NIT. They would have missed, most likely, in 1920 during the COVID-shortened year. They were 14-19. The ACC tournament got canceled and everything because of COVID, but
that's like a rain out in the 4th inning when you're down 6.
It's not a complete game, not an official game. But he did make the NCAA tournament his final year in 2021. But Hubert Davis is part of the staff under Roy Williams, and a lot of that carryover that first year. The first year of Hubert Davis, let's be honest, was not looking really good until about this time when they got hot. Remember, they just got hot at the right time. It wasn't like it was a great season. They got hot at the right time, and they got all the way to the NCAA tournament, obviously NCAA championship game. But it's not like it was an outstanding season from Carolina back in 21-22.
But I do appreciate the kind of, devil's advocate nature of that opinion. So, you're on the cool list. Call back in anytime. Garrett in Raleigh is up next. Heister Automotive Group hotline 919-860-5326. Garrett, appreciate you for calling in. Go ahead and sound off here on my notes. It says on NC State.
Yeah, I moved to the Triangle about 6 years ago now, and I've kind of adopted NC State as my second team. I'm from Alabama, lifelong Auburn fan. So
okay.
I won't go into our dominance this year.
Except against teams from the Triangle. We should mention that. Yeah,
they shot 15 more free throws, and you play the refs when you play Duke at Duke also. No, I'm kidding. But just kind of being an NC State fan, it's hard to watch Keatts. I mean, if he doesn't go on that run last year, he gets fired. And honestly, I think it's kind of set back the program 3 or 4 years having him as coach. I mean, if it's just a miraculous run and he's got a free pass probably for the next 2 years, and we're not, there's no recruiting going on. The portal is hit and miss, and you got to recruit guys, and it's just NC State should be better than what they got, in my opinion. So I'll hang up and listen to what y'all say.
Thank you very much, Garrett. Thanks for the call. Here's what I have to say about, because I'm hearing a lot of like, oh, that run made it so Kevin Keatts is around. I'll put it this way. You do structure those contracts because of where you are as a program, right? When you say if you make a Final Four or if you win an ACC championship, and I don't know what the exact language was, but if you do these things, you get a contract extension or you get a raise or your buyout goes up. You put it in there because that's what you believe in a program, right? You think if you make a Final Four, that is worth whatever the contract extension is, right? Whatever that is. Remember, it had been 40 years since they made a Final Four. If you would have said, like, hey, we'll give you a Final Four run, but you're going to have to eat 2 or 3 bad years, most State fans, I believe, would have signed up for it. Now that you have the Final Four run, suddenly, no, we can't put up with any bad years. It's think about where you were 2 years ago and try to, because contracts weren't signed after the Final Four. They were all signed before. All those escalators and incentives were there for a reason. Daniel in Durham. You are up next on the Heister Automotive Group hotline for Monday's Sound Off. Go ahead and sound off. I have 2 notes here, North Carolina and Taylor Hall of the Canes. So you start where you want to start, Daniel.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. Thanks for having me on. I've been listening since you guys started. So
appreciate that.
Great show.
Thank you.
I moved down here about 4 years ago to go to UNC for school, and I stayed down here. But I originally am from New York, but my dad was from Boston, so I'm a huge Bruins, Celtics, Sox fan, and I just wanted to note on Taylor Hall quick, that trade you guys pulled off, Taylor Hall is a fantastic second liner. And I really think he's going to be the one that's going to contribute a lot. I mean, Rantanen is great, but I just want to say Canes fans are very lucky. Taylor Hall was with the Bruins during that record-setting season. So just wanted to spread some love on Taylor Hall.
Love it. Absolutely agree.
But I think my real frustration as a UNC fan is I feel like, one, the rankings this year kind of, I'm not super in-depth with all the college transfers and talent and recruiting, but the ranking us that high preseason I feel like was, I don't know, a little bit too high because a lot of our players that were returning haven't really developed. And so I think 2 points that, after this I'll hang up and I'll let you guys talk. But one is, why is Hubert Davis not really developing these guys? I feel like, guys like Jalen Washington and Seth Trimble, like they've been on this team for a couple of years now, and I just feel like they haven't really elevated their play to the next level. And honestly, that's really just the main point I wanted to make. So I'll hang up and let you guys talk.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the call. And thank you for listening now that you call the Triangle home. The ranking, especially preseason rankings, always need to be taken with a grain of salt. Part of it is you were returning guys that contributed to a very, very good team last year. We're going to talk later on about Duke potentially running the table in the ACC and going undefeated. They would be 20-0 if they did that. Since they expanded the ACC schedule, the best record anyone's had in conference is 17-3. That was UNC last year. And then they brought in the 8th recruiting class in the country. So it's not like, I hate to say this, it's not even like they needed, in order to reach their lofty expectations, Jalen Washington, Jalen Withers to become superstars. They needed some serviceable bigs and to be elite on the perimeter, and they haven't gotten there. So the expectations early on were high, but I don't think they were unjustified high. They're high because you had talent on the roster, and Hubert Davis had proven he made it to a final, made it to an NCAA final, the championship game, that if you give him talent, he can at least get hot at the right time. Tom, that sound means Monday sound off. Call in. Heister Automotive Group hotline 919-860-5326. Thomas in Durham wants to sound off on one of the crazier things of the weekend. We haven't even touched on it yet. The NBA. Well, maybe not the Charlotte Hornets, but the NBA trades. Go ahead, Thomas.
It's your resident Charlotte fanatic calling to complain about the haves and have-nots. The haves, what do we have? The Lakers getting bailed out by a team in the NBA yet again.
Mm-hmm.
Here's Luka Doncic, a 25-year-old with his entire career in front of him, and we'll take back peanuts. Thanks, appreciate that. Then a couple miles down the road, you've got San Antonio managing to pair De'Aaron Fox with Victor Wembanyama.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have to give up 8 of their best players. They didn't have to give up 6 of their coveted first-round picks. Why do we keep allowing this to happen? Meanwhile, in lonely Charlotte, we've got the have-nots where I'm just hoping that the last 20 years of losing can lead to Cooper Flagg or Dylan Harper or some kind of hope in this year's draft.
Ace Bailey also seemed to be a stud from Rutgers, just a gigantic shooter.
Meh.
I mean, he's like 6'10", and he shoots the lights out. I don't know what to do with
but
that.
That's all he does.
Yeah, there's not much else.
Really just shoots. I'm not a fan of him. He's Michael Porter Jr. Part 2 to me. I don't want that in Charlotte.
All right. First of all, I respect the detailed knowledge there, Thomas. Call back in anytime.
Thanks.
What I would do if I were a Hornets GM right now, I'm calling about every star. Right? I'm not upset that Luka Doncic got traded, right? Because if the Mavs, for whatever reason, got tired of telling him to lose weight and they just had to be done with him, I'm mad that he was traded and there was no bidding war. Nobody else knew he was available. He just off the market deal went to the Lakers. I'm calling and going is Giannis available? Nope. All right, just wanted to double check. Click. Is Anthony Edwards available? Nope. All right, cool. Check. Just if he is, I promise you, we will outbid whatever anyone else has given up. And we would have done that for Luka as well. If I'm the Lakers, I mean, just put Luka on the market right now. In 2 days, you'll turn Anthony Davis into 700 million picks.
Yeah, flip it.
Just a straight flip. I'm kidding. Don't do that. Don't trade Luka Doncic. It doesn't make any sense.
Capital gains tax on that, though.
Yeah, exactly. California, I don't even know how all that breaks down. Earl and Raleigh, you're next up on a Monday. Sound off. We have more sounding off on UNC and the head coach, Hubert Davis. Earl and Raleigh, go ahead and take it away.
Hey, yeah, I'm a big UNC fan all my life. The only thing I don't like about Davis, what he's done this year, I still think he can coach. But I think if you look back over the years, when Bill Guthrie was there, they always had somebody to develop the big man. So I don't know the coaching staff now who's taking that role, but it just kills me that we have talent in the forward position, but Davis sticks with those 3 and 4 guards. I mean, I think especially against Duke where they had out of height, we need to start playing more forwards that can get in there and kind of go at it a little bit. I think he needs to get away from 3 or 4 guards. Well, like the Boston College game we struggled against them. We shouldn't be struggling against them.
What I will, Sean May is on the bench, right? The legendary big man for UNC. So if you're looking for somebody to develop bigs, Sean May knows how to get it done. I've seen him do it. There's a lot to break down there. I appreciate the call. We were kind of up against it, so we're going to move on. But thank you. There's an article by Dan Wolken on USA Today. Basically says UNC should ask, do you have one of the 10 best coaches in college basketball? If you can answer that yes, Hubert Davis is one of the 10 best, you stick with it. If not, respect yourself as UNC and say we should have one of the 10 best coaches in college basketball because we're one of the 3 best jobs in college basketball, and the order of the top 3 you can figure out for yourself. That's kind of where I'm at. I don't think Hubert Davis is a bad coach. I don't think Hubert Davis is even a below-average coach. I think he's a good coach. But it's the standard is the standard at a school like UNC. Last one before we head to the top of the hour. Pat in Durham wants to sound off on the game. It says Duke and UNC, so I don't know which way this is going to go. Pat in Durham, welcome. Take it away.
Well, I'm a State fan, so I was just kind of watching the Duke. So I might as well watch a couple of programs that are doing something. But I was watching the Duke game, and Duke and Carolina, one program that's doing something.
There you go.
And it was so crazy in the first half. I mean, here's Carolina, and even the start in the second, they're like going on a 6-0 run, and you're saying, okay, they're getting back into it, and they're not even busting 20 points. And then Duke was scoring, and they had to scrap to keep it under 30.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the one thing I noticed positive with Carolina is towards the end of the game, that second freshman that didn't get a lot of playing time, he took over the game and he showed what he had. So I think Carolina's going to go on a semi-run because they found out they might have had a jewel that they didn't polish, that they hadn't been polishing up.
Thank you very much for calling in. I'm going to let you go here because we're up against the top of the hour, but I have one take on that. The freshman you're talking about is Drake Powell. He had 12 points all in the second half. It's been obvious. I've been calling for Drake Powell to play more from the second game of the year. So I'm just not confident that right now, he had a good second half against Duke. Now they're going to, turn over some more usage to him. It's been months I've been talking about Drake Powell needs to play more. There was a stat that this is probably 2 or 3 weeks ago. He was in all of ESPN's 2-round mock draft that was going to be drafted, he was the player with the lowest usage percentage of everyone that was projected to be drafted in college basketball. And I was going, this doesn't make sense to me. And so I've been where you are, thinking they finally saw it. Now he's going to get the ball a bunch. I want to caution you against, expecting it's going to happen for sure. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Thank you to everybody that called in. That was a very fun version of Monday Sound Off. Maybe we'll open up the lines again later on in the show for you, just because it was a good time. In the meantime, Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending. Miller Lending is the home of the no closing cost loan, and the no closing cost loan helps you with timing. Right? Oh, rates are too high now. I don't want to get a mortgage. What if they go down in 6 months and I've locked in this one and then I got to pay costs and fees? Oh, wait. With a no closing cost loan, you don't have to pay costs and fees again because there are no fees. There are no costs. There are no third-party fees of any kind. Zero means zero. So you get your mortgage now. If rates go down in 6 months, refinance. No costs and fees out of your pocket. If they go another 6 months into the future, they go down again, refinance again, no costs and fees out of your pocket. It's something that Miller Lending can help you do in order to take the fear out of timing, right? To take the fear out of what if I don't get my mortgage at the lowest rate, and it gets lower, or it was lower last week. It's all about preparing yourself to be flexible and take some of that pressure for timing off of you. So go ahead and give them a call, 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377 for Miller Lending, or you can visit them online at millerlending.com. That's millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, and MLS number 250-2146. Football at 4 coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
The Eagles' run game is based on the offensive line. Saquon Barkley does a great job with making second and third level defenders miss, but he's 15, 20 yards downfield. He doesn't get touched for 20 yards. I have a hard time saying that guy is the most important player on the team when nobody touches him for 2 first downs.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Hey guys, Valentine's Day is right around the corner, and Cupid's arrow is pointing straight to Bailey's. We're here to help and make it easy for you to find the perfect gift for the one you love. Bailey's has something for everyone and every budget. We have a huge selection of jewelry and gifts for under $500, from David Yurman, Apolita, Mikimoto, Lagos, and more. And if you're looking for something extra special, we also have an amazing selection of diamond jewelry. Shop in-store or online at baileybox.com. Give her a gift that's better than chocolate or roses with the easiest and can't-miss way to make her Valentine's Day extra special with a little black and white striped box from Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Located in Raleigh's Village District and Crabtree Valley Mall, also in Cary's Fenton, Rocky Mount, and Greenville. Just a little reminder from me, Marcy Bailey. Every woman wants a Bailey box.
Hey friends, it's Paul Eihander for FanDuel. The FanDuel Kick of Destiny is happening Sunday, and this time it's every Manning for himself. This Super Bowl, 2 legends take the field in a sudden-death field goal showdown. Peyton versus Eli, live from New Orleans. 1 kick to claim ultimate family bragging rights. Who rises to the moment? Pick your winner now in the FanDuel app, and if you back the right brother, you'll earn a share of $10 million in bonus bets. It's the FanDuel Kick of Destiny 3. Make your free pick, and don't forget to tune in to watch the showdown live during the Super Bowl 59 pregame show on Fox at 3 Eastern. May the best Manning win. Download your app. Head to FanDuel.com/Paul and bet with FanDuel, official partner of Super Bowl 59. 21 plus and present in North Carolina. No purchase necessary. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Hey man, been to Sharky's lately?
Yeah, man, I was there last night with you.
Oh, yeah. The wings and the burgers are killer. They have so many beers it's hard to choose, you know?
I know. You know, they got trivia on Tuesdays and luck of the draw darts on Sunday, man. I love them both.
Yeah, I love that place, man.
You know what, man? I think Sharky's may be the best bar in the world.
Yeah, I think you're right, man. Let's go grab a beer.
Sharky's at the corner of Delta Lake Drive and Durham Road, open 7 days a week.
Take advantage of Atlantic Spas and Billiards Triple Play Hot Tub Sale. Buy a hot spring or Caldera Spa, get a free 75-inch TV to watch the big game. With our Triple Play Hot Tub Sale, you'll receive a 75-inch TV, 12-month same-as-cash financing, and free accessories. Make the winter fun by soaking in a toasty hot tub from Atlantic Spas and Billiards. And save big. We have over 20 hot tubs on display and pool tables, saunas, grills, and games galore. Atlantic Spas and Billiards, Glenwood Avenue, Raleigh, and Market Street, Wilmington.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Zero Res wants to give your home the love and attention it deserves. This month, get 3 rooms of carpets cleaned, starting at $109, and take $100 off your air duct cleaning. Book online anytime at ZeroResRaleigh.com.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to RitchieLaw.com.
That's RitchieLaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Nice afternoon out there. We'll see mostly sunny skies with a high temperature of almost 70 degrees. Overnight tonight, we may see some fog develop. Overnight low in the upper 40s. And then tomorrow, really warm, way above normal. Almost a record high. We're looking at mid-70s under partly cloudy skies.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones down 122 points to 44,421.
Let's move the chains. Time for Football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Football at 4? Well, let's make somebody a big game VIP at 4. How does that sound? Right now, 99.9 The Fan and Buffalo Brothers want you to be our big game VIP. We want to qualify somebody for that big game VIP prize right now. So call 919-860-5326. What are we going with? Caller number?
Let's go number 9.
Caller number 9. Call into 919-860-5326. If you're caller number 9, you will win a $25 Buffalo Brothers gift card. And on top of the $25 gift card, you will qualify for a chance to win a VIP table for 6 at Buffalo Brothers on Lake Boone Trail for the big game on February 9th. That's this upcoming Sunday, as well as a $300 gift card to add to your $25 gift card. A lot of winning possible here. So call in 919-860-5326. Caller number 9 gets the $25 card and qualifies for the big game VIP package. It's pretty sweet. And by the way, tune in all week, both to this show, The Drive, as well as Next Up with Paul Ihander every morning from 9 to 10. Those will be the 2 places you can qualify and win the $25 Buffalo Brothers gift cards for the big game VIP. It's going on all week, and then Sunday will be the reserve table and all of the pomp and circumstance. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Looking at football at 4. Right now, it's big game week. It's Super Bowl week. The Eagles have earned the opportunity that Panthers fans, I believe, should be most jealous of. The Cam Newton-era Panthers never got this chance. The Jake Delhomme-era Panthers never got this chance. It's the redo. It's the wait, let me fix it and run it back. That's what the Eagles have. The Eagles made mistakes 2 years ago. The week of the Super Bowl got to them. They've kind of acknowledged it. Nick Sirianni, their head coach, crying a ton during the national anthem. Probably a little too emotional. Jalen Hurts had to calm Sirianni down from talking trash across the field. Probably a little too riled up. Jalen Hurts had the fumble that ended up being the difference maker, returned for the touchdown. They had mistakes, just like the Panthers had their mistakes, both in the Delhomme Super Bowl and the Cam Newton Super Bowl. Right? The Panthers were the better team against the Broncos, whatever that was, 8, 10 years ago. They had more yards, pass yards, rush yards, yards per play, time of possession, more tackles for a loss than the Broncos did. In so many ways, the Panthers were better, but the Panthers turned it over 4 times. That's brutal. Cam Newton not diving on the fumble, that's brutal. That is something you'd love to just get another shot, right? The Eagles got it. The second chance. The Eagles get that. They get to look at what cost you a Super Bowl and then say, let's make sure that doesn't happen again. If the Chiefs are going to beat the Eagles, they're going to have to do it against a better Eagles team with more experience. They've been to a Super Bowl. They've done the week lead up. They've gotten too overly hyped on a Tuesday and been exhausted by Thursday and tried to get it back together by a Sunday. They've done it. It's why making it back to a Super Bowl is so darn tough, but it is such a worthwhile exercise. You can't tell me, if I'd say either of the 2 Panthers teams that made it to the big game, if they would have gotten back in the next 2 or 3 years with almost the exact same core, that they wouldn't have found a way to win. Not 100%, especially not up against a team like the Chiefs, who are every bit as familiar as anyone's ever been with the Super Bowl. But as far as like not having regrets, the Eagles now get a chance to try it again without that one excuse. Right? Remember the field was slippery? Their cleats were slipping all over the place? Well, this one's indoors, right? This is down in New Orleans. There won't be that. Maybe even it's something as simple as that. Right? You think a referee got you with a bad call. You think the field wasn't fair and people were slipping all over the place.
That too.
Yeah, slipping, splish splash. They were taking a slide. You get those out of there and you get to see. That's a glorious gift, and I hope the Eagles don't take it for granted. I hope they're not there, this team is different than the one 2 years ago. It's like, no, learn the lessons from 2 years ago and come back stronger. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We had our Monday sound off earlier, but it looks like Edward and Wendell is on the line.
No, not on the line, because but Edward and Wendell did want to say this regarding Kevin Keatts and NC State.
Do you want to read it or should I?
I can go ahead and read it.
Go ahead and read it.
Thinks Keatts needs to be fired.
There it is.
This is a young man saying this, by the way. And by young, I say young.
Okay.
Keatts needs to go.
Well, go ahead.
He points this out. Look back at Louisville when he got ejected. Things looked better when he was no longer on the bench.
Actually, I appreciate you saying that it was a young man, because I do get, and I'll just say it. You can probably hear it right now in my voice. You're stammering, Tim. I get very uncomfortable calling for people's jobs, especially that bluntly, like so-and-so needs to be fired. Because, that's livelihoods. They got families. There's all of that there. Granted, they're well compensated and his buyout would be through the roof. I hear all of that logic. But when you're younger, you're just like, jobs come and go, right? I fire my coach on Madden all the time. I tend to believe that sometimes getting ejected riles up the team, and it's the move the head coach needs to make. Right? Throw your coat on the floor, let one of those magic words fly, and your team gets energized from it. I don't always believe that is like, oh, now look at the assistant coach is coaching better. Sometimes the assistant coach is coaching better because the head coach got him in the mindset on the way out. So there's shades of gray there. I'm not saying you're wrong, Edward. I'm not saying you're right. I'm just saying sometimes that's a move. Sometimes that's a head coach, all right, like digging into the toolbox and going, oh, watch what I got here. I think it was John Shire just got his first technical a couple games ago. And I'm going like, oh, he's adding to the toolbox. Look at this. Yeah. He's no longer the soft-spoken, sir, Mr. Official, can I have a word with you? Now put him on the line. I got something I want to say.
May we speak? No, you're going to hear this.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
It's just a little different, but it's important. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Tim Donnelly here for DraftKings Sportsbook. We are still in football season. We are still in playoff season. That's right, we're talking playoffs. You bet we are. Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Scoring touchdowns is key to winning in the playoffs, key to winning the biggest games of the year. And you can score big by betting on them at DraftKings. If I'm not mistaken, the last 4 Super Bowls have all been decided by exactly 3 points. And what that means is turning a field goal into a touchdown, getting that extra 4 points, assuming you make the PAT, that could be the difference in the game. It could also be the difference turning that field goal into a touchdown to you scoring big at DraftKings, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple, like a player to score 6. Go to DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick. New DraftKings customers can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code TIMD. That's code TIMD for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 877-185-543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus, North Carolina only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. We'll take a break. When we come back, we have our ladder challenge where I won my first month over the weekend, and we get to the podium. Who's off the podium? Bronze, silver, gold from the 4 teams in the ACC in the state of North Carolina. Coming up next.
From 32 to 2, Kansas City.
The Chiefs have won again. They have beaten the Buffalo Bills 32-29.
Philadelphia.
20, 15, 10, touchdown, Saquon Barkley.
Join 99.9 The Fan on Super Bowl Sunday, February 9th. Super Bowl Sunday on 99.9 The Fan is presented by First Horizon Bank and Wake Med. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey girl, haven't seen you downtown lately.
Nope, sticking to our go-to places.
You mean like Sharky's?
Well, we love our Sharky's. Best wings and gumbo on the planet. But we never miss the $5 sangrias on Wednesdays at the new Salt and Lime. And Mexican pints on Thursdays for $3.
You know my boy loves the House of Hops. No better selection of craft beer in the state. Loves their specials, their food trucks, and you know I love my wine. They have a wonderful selection.
And have I told you about our new takeout spot, Che Empanadas? It's right next to Sharky's. They have 20 different types of authentic Argentinian empanadas, and they are incredible, especially the breakfast ones. You gotta try it.
Sounds perfect. And how awesome is it that they're so close to each other?
Yes.
Give them a try. Che Empanadas, House of Hops, Salt and Lime, and Sharky's. Just a hop, skip, and a jump from each other off Durham Road, Glenwood, and Grove Barton.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Individual results may vary. Consult a doctor prior to use.
You've lost so much weight. How'd you do it?
I got medical treatment for weight loss through Zelty and lost 50 pounds. I struggled for the longest time, but Zelty makes it easy and affordable to get weight loss treatment 100% online. Zelty providers can prescribe FDA-approved weight loss medications clinically shown to help people lose weight, like Wegovy, Zepbound, and others.
I've heard those medications can help you lose weight, but aren't they expensive?
Zelty can help get the medication covered by insurance, so it's as little as $0 a month.
What if you don't have insurance?
No problem. Zelty may be able to help you get other GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% off the price of name brand medications.
I'm ready to start losing weight. How do I get started with Zelty?
Just text.
Text SKINNY to 200-300 to get started today with Zelty and see if weight loss medications like Wegovy and Zepbound are right for you. Don't wait. Text now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text SKINNY to 200-300. That's SKINNY to 200-300. SKINNY to 200-300.
SoundStation and Security, your automotive and audio experts. Car audio, car video, home theater, wheels and tires, and so much more. Plus, did you know SoundStation and Security offers full service for your vehicle? Alignments, inspection, oil changes, window tinting, and custom exhaust. And with a variety of financing options, SoundStation and Security can help you get what you need today. 2 locations, downtown Smithfield and on Glenwood Avenue in Raleigh. SoundStation and Security. Visit myhotsound.com.
Hey, Ma, I've been meaning to talk to you about some new COVID information I saw online. I read that black folks like us with certain conditions like diabetes, heart disease, mental health conditions, or being 50 and older, like you, are at high risk.
Boy, you sound like a commercial.
I'm just saying. I know you love your ginger teas and essential oils, but remember, there are treatment options for COVID-19.
I promise if I get sick again, I'll call my doctor to ask about my options.
Visit WeTalkWeRise.com to learn more. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Whoa, it's you, the Capital One Bank guy.
That's what they call me.
Mind if I get a selfie?
Yeah, sure thing. Say no fees or minimums on your Capital One checking account.
Wow, that's a keeper. So, where are you heading?
I'm off to spread the good news that Capital One helps people keep more money in their wallet with no overdraft fees.
Oh, you're the best Capital One Bank guy.
Hey, mind if I get a selfie?
Sure.
Say, Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
Handoff for Proctor. Crossing over, back to the right side of the paint, back up top, James. Plenty of top 12 to shoot. He'll drive, kick back up top. Tyrese a 3. Good. A rainbow from Proctor, and he's got 15.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. As always, subscribe to our YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. Hunting that 15,000th subscriber.
We're 14 away, people.
14 away. That's it, 14. Once we hit 15, we will be giving away a Seth Jarvis signed puck to one of our subscribers. So once we hit 15,000, somebody's getting a Jarvis signed puck.
Got to subscribe to win, though.
Got to be subscribed to win. Go do it right now. I'll wait. No, I'm kidding. But seriously, go do it right now. You can listen while you do it. Also, if you hear a little chipperness in my voice, a little bounce, I won my first month in the ladder challenge, everybody. Closing the gap. Closing the gap. I was down 2-0. It was a slow start, but we kept fighting. Won the month of January. I am now 2-1 behind Dennis, and I have momentum. So let's go ahead and start up February on the right track here. By the way, the winning bet for me was Tyrese Maxey 35 plus, so 35 or more points plus rebounds plus assists versus the Nuggets. He had 42 points. So that's a nice, easy slam dunk of a win. Got me to the finish line of January. Dennis, I'll just say it. February is going to be a weird month for the ladder challenge.
Yeah.
Because my wife is expecting our second child any day now. And then I'll disappear for a little bit. Not a super long time, but enough that this month will be condensed. It's already the shortest month on the calendar. So every pick matters a little bit more because I don't know what you're going to do when I'm out. My pick to get
I don't know what you're going to do when you're out.
I know what I'll do. I'll be trying to sleep when I can and trying to keep a toddler and a newborn in line. Is that how it works? I don't know.
I wouldn't know.
For parents that have gone from 1 to 2 kid, appreciating all bits of advice. Shall I lead us off as the defending champ?
As the reigning defending champion, yes.
Tonight I'm going Victor Wembanyama, 18 or more points scored versus the Grizzlies. This is a minus 500 bet. Our parameters are they have to be minus 500 to minus 1,000. So with it being a less opportunity month for me, I'm going to try to maximize my earnings by hitting those minus 500s. Victor Wembanyama, 18 plus. I think this is a confidence thing, right? The Spurs traded for De'Aaron Fox, right? Mm-hmm. That is all the flashy names. Zach LaVine going here, Kevin Huerter going there, De'Aaron Fox leaving the Kings, like all of this big sizzle. The entire trade was about Wembanyama. It was about putting a all-star caliber player around what they think is a future best player in the league in Wembanyama, Victor Wembanyama. That's got to be boosting your confidence. You got to come out today and think I'm going to get mine, right? They're giving me De'Aaron Fox. Watch what I give them. Here comes a 25 spot. I only need 19. I only need 18. So give me Victor Wembanyama 18 plus versus the Grizzlies tonight. Take my $10 that we're starting the new month with, turn it into 12.
Okay, you know me, gonna go hockey.
Had a feeling. Is it shots on goal or is it teasing the puck line?
It is actually shots on goal.
Okay.
Philip Forsberg, Nashville Predators, they take on the Ottawa Senators tonight. Philip Forsberg just need 2+ shots on goal. That's a minus 550, so that will turn into $11.80 for me.
Have you done any research into whether there is a bug, a sickness going around that particular locker room?
I have not.
Because it seems like if you pay attention to the Canes, that's one of the things that impacts every game is like who's actually available, who's sick, who's sluggish, who's not.
The last time Philip Forsberg did not have more than 2+ shots on goal was January 3rd. So it's been a month.
Exactly 1 month.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if it pans out for you. What's the payout on that, or what's the odds?
It's a minus 550.
Okay, so I would make a little bit more money than you. You're probably in like 1190, something like that.
1180.
1180, even better. We'll see. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I'm feeling good off the ladder challenge. Let's go ahead and jump to the podium. It's a 1-week award. Over the last week, who is off the podium, who gets the bronze, who gets the silver, who gets the gold, amongst the 4 teams from the state of North Carolina in the Atlantic Coast Conference. To me, there were some easy decisions here. And there was actually one pretty difficult decision. And the pretty difficult decision comes down to who gets the bronze and who gets off the podium. There were 2 teams, I believe, deserving of off the podium, but only one goes off the podium. So we put North Carolina there. They lost to Pitt 73-65 last week, and they lost to Duke 87-70 over the weekend. It didn't feel that close.
Because it wasn't.
Like, that is one where you lost by 17 and the final score doesn't tell the full story. So it was worse than that even. And losing to Pitt is something that UNC shouldn't accept. And by the way, I'm hearing this on Twitter. We had a caller earlier, and I love callers that call in and sound off and defend their opinions. We had a caller earlier that called in and was basically defending Hubert Davis's work this year as the head coach of UNC. And I'm already seeing it on the the Twitter machines of, I can't tell you how many UNC fans I've heard sound just like that dude. There's complacency. There's all of these words that get thrown around. I do think, and I'm going to sound like, I don't even know if this is like the appropriate analogy. I'm going to sound like the best friend in like a rom-com who's talking to somebody going like, you need to recognize what a catch you are. You don't just get somebody who is, you know, happy to see you. You need somebody that celebrates. You need somebody that puts you on a pedestal. Like, you're North Carolina. You're not okay with, most days it's a solid season. Like, you should strive for greatness every single year. Losing to Pitt 73-65, but going, well, actually, you know, Pitt did some good things. No, have a higher belief in yourself. You're North Carolina. Every time you lose to Pitt, there should be fire in your eyes. Every time you lose to Duke, and it's by the way, every time you lose to Duke, period, it's a rivalry game. Be mad. But even when like your logical basketball mind takes over, losing by 17 and it feels like 28, that should be anger. Like, you're better than that. Your program is too good for that. Don't accept that kind of treatment for yourself. Off the podium, North Carolina, off of that week. Anything you'd like to add, Dennis? Do we need like the funny friend in the rom-com? What are you bringing to the table?
Nothing.
Any jokes?
Nope.
Puns of any kind? No? All right. Bronze goes to NC State. To me, they could have been off the podium. Mm-hmm. They lost to Duke 74-64. Weirdly, their best game of the last 6. And then they lost to Clemson 68-58. Here's the tough part for NC State. 35 minutes, they're solid. Last 5 minutes, it's inevitable. It's inevitable. And that is a wildly, wildly difficult thing to fix. You know, the irony is, and we'll talk about this, like with a team like Duke, right? They just aren't getting enough experience, I believe. It's the one thing that I'm worried about. They aren't getting enough experience in close games down the stretch when the pressure is highest. And I think you need to feel that a few times before you're comfortable in it. NC State is like Bane from The Dark Knight. Mm-hmm. They're born into it. They're in a 2-possession game in the final 4 minutes every single game, and they're not getting more comfortable in it. It's almost like they're becoming more resigned to, here we go again. It's, you know what it is? It's very golfer of them. Anyone that's a golf nerd, and I am one of those, there are certain golfers that they have a lead on, like, you know, the 12th hole on a Sunday. You need that lead to be like 7 strokes to feel comfortable, because they're going to hear the footsteps coming and they're just waiting to put one in the water. And that's kind of State. It's like whether they're 2 strokes back, 3 strokes up, it's like, well, they still got 4 holes to play, and I don't feel good until the ball is in the cup on 18. They're just not playing their best down the stretch. I give Styles, Kinston's own, a lot of credit. He's been shooting the lights out recently. Still ending with the kind of similar result. Granted, I will say Duke and Clemson are different beasts than some of the teams they were losing to earlier. They're 2 of the 3 best teams in the ACC, maybe 2 of the 2 best teams in the ACC. Although Louisville did beat Clemson, so they're probably edging up a little bit. If State played the way they played against Duke in other games, I think they could have won a few. I'm not sure that's true for Clemson, because Clemson also played down to their level a little bit, but that is the one saving grace that puts them on bronze rather than off the podium. Is Duke and Clemson are top-level ACC this year, and State did have kind of their best showing of late in that first half, especially against Duke. That's bronze. Silver and gold to me were very obvious.
This was pretty easy.
Wake Forest, they lost at number 21 Louisville, which, if there is an acceptable loss in the ACC, that's one of them. 72-59, and it was just a couple of days after an emotional, hard-fought game against Duke at home. So I'm making a whole bunch of excuses. It's a loss. It is. Don't get me wrong. Then they beat Pitt at home, 76-74, which does play into the Wake Forest at home versus road thing, right? You lose at Louisville, you win at home against Pitt. But a win against Pitt it's a solid win in the ACC, right? It's probably not like, season changing, but it's solid enough. So that's good for Wake. When they, and I think it was Hildreth again scoring a bunch of points. When someone other than Salas gets it going offensively, they're a really, really good team.
Yeah, Cam Hildreth at 24.
When it's just like, I don't care if it's could be Spillers, could be Hildreth, could be Efton Reed. Like, there's a bunch of guys that it could be, but if someone else can give you like 18 plus and Salas is Salas, they're a tough out. I would not want to see Wake Forest in the ACC tournament, especially not if they could play it in Winston-Salem. But that's a story for another day. Gold goes to Duke. I don't think this is a surprise here. Gold goes to Duke. They beat NC State at home, 74-64. They beat UNC at home, 87-70. Those two games are a good showing of Duke. Kind of showing up maybe not with their fastball and still getting a double-digit win against NC State, and then showing up with their fastball and dominating from very early on against UNC. It shows kind of the floor and the ceiling for them, and both of them were double-digit wins against crosstown rivals in the ACC. So they get the gold. I don't think that's a surprise. Anything you'd like to add on any of the teams before we move on to a bigger picture question here?
No, pretty spot on here, I'd say.
Yeah.
I mean, the one, like you said, State, Carolina, who's going to be on bronze, who's going to be off the podium? And it's like, well, State actually played Duke closer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the one comp.
Common opponent.
State played Duke a lot tougher and a lot closer. Simple as that.
I also think they are they're a better matchup for Duke.
Mm-hmm.
They have a little bit more size. If you don't have size, Duke is tough. And UNC, especially when they tried going small, which is it's certainly a choice, just makes it a really tough matchup. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. There is the Podium. I don't think there's a ton of discrepancy there unless you want to nitpick the bottom of the Podium. But I do have this question. Is Duke about to go undefeated in the ACC? Is Duke about to go undefeated in the ACC? Which, I have to be honest, it seems like should happen more often. It was one of those deals where they mentioned it during the Duke-Carolina game because they were about to turn, I think it was 11-0. And they said it hasn't happened since Elton Brand and Duke. And I went, well, then what? So I looked it up. No member of the ACC has won every league game since Duke went 16-0 in the 98-99 season. It hasn't happened this century. Just for, let's do some guys naming dudes here. That team featured Elton Brand, William Avery, Trajan Langdon, Corey Maggette, Shane Battier, Chris Carrawell. These are throwbacks. Now, the ACC did expand to 20 games about 5 years ago. No team has finished better than 17-3 since the schedule expanded to 20. I think Duke has a real shot, maybe even a likelihood, to go 20-0 in the ACC this year. Now, there's two parts of that lead it to that lead me to that conclusion. One is Duke's good. The other is the ACC is not. And we just saw earlier today the news. Leonard Hamilton announced he is resigning from Florida State after 23 years leading the program. He's a multiple-time ACC Coach of the Year. I've said it before, I'll say it again. The number one reason why I think the ACC isn't what we're used to seeing is because, well, for a long time there was just a guarantee that there were going to be 5 Hall of Fame coaches on the sideline at any given time. And that's just not happening right now, at least not, they might be Hall of Fame coaches, but they got to go have the Hall of Fame career first to then earn the right into the Hall of Fame. They haven't done it yet. So there's a down ACC where you don't have to worry about facing, an excellent scheme from Roy Williams. You don't have to worry about facing the vaunted 2-3 of Jim Boeheim. You don't have to worry about seeing whatever the heck Tony Bennett, the pack line. You don't have to worry about Jim Larinaga. You don't have to worry about any of that. And then on top of that, this is a good Duke year. And they're getting better, right? Because I'll go back to the preseason. It didn't quite happen the way I thought, but they did lose 2 non-conference games and close games fairly early. I said on air, and I think I asked Dennis or maybe asked the listeners, like, don't let me panic about Duke if they start like 3-3 or 3-6.
Well, you said that to me and the listeners.
Or not 3-6, 6-3, because they're going to be so much better by February and March than they are in November because young guys are going to mature. So if they lose a couple games early or a handful of games early to teams with a bunch more experience, don't let me panic and jump off the boat because I still thought they were going to be a very, very good team. Turns out they didn't have to lose that much early, but we're still seeing the development of the young guys. We're still seeing the cohesion get better and better and better. And John Shire, after the win over UNC, talked about the level of maturity for his young guys in their first time in that rivalry.
They sure met it. I mean, you always worry just when you see different moments or different environments, how is your team going to respond? We've really been focused this season on just what you can control at the end of the day. And so, we focus on our defense. We feel if our defense is there, our offense is going to come. I thought Sion makes so many plays, man. He makes so many plays and makes it easier for everybody on the court. Our freshmen didn't look like freshmen. And they didn't even know you burn benches, actually. So our whole team, they didn't even know that happens. And so I love the fact they were just focused on the task at hand of coming ready, not just to play, but to compete.
First of all, you didn't beat UNC last year, so maybe the burning benches thing, right? You gotta win the games to learn the traditions. It does feel like Duke has had maybe 8-day stretches where different, I don't want to call them role players, but not the main characters, have been praised. We saw the Mason Gillis praise. We've seen the Malik Brown defensively. He had like a little stretch where his importance was celebrated. Sion James is getting his love right now. The team is finding their roles. Now, they can do it this year. They can go undefeated in the ACC. If I were John Shire, I would make that a tangible goal. Right? I'm not saying I'd go full major league and come out with like a, cardboard cutout and start like, hey, we're, 9 games away or whatever it is. But seeing Clemson struggle against NC State this past weekend, watching what Duke did to UNC solidifies it. Duke should win every game in the ACC this year. And what they do in the ACC and NCAA tournaments will determine if the season is a success and will determine where they go down in history. So you have to get ready for that. And to do that, you need to continue chasing lofty goals. Like winning the ACC, regular season, no disrespect to them. If they finish 17-3, which will tie for the best record since they've expanded to 20 games, that would be a massive disappointment. Sitting at 11-0, if you were to win 6 more and lose 3.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where the 3 losses could come from. Maybe at Clemson. Maybe at Carolina, maybe home against Wake. Like, those are your 3 toughest games left in conference. That's it. I mean, you have the game against Illinois. That's a neutral site. But, in terms of in conference, you have Cal, Stanford, Virginia, Florida State, Miami, Wake, Wake, UNC. That's it. Clemson, Syracuse.
I'm not counting a lot of losses there if you're playing like the WL game where you go down the schedule and write win or loss. I'm not counting any losses.
Like, if you want to say 1 just because of just law of averages, sure, okay. But I don't see it.
I don't want to say this in a aloof way. I wish the ACC were better this year so we would know more about this Duke team. Right? The AP poll just came out. Duke's second behind Auburn. That caller who's an Auburn fan, congrats. You're number 1 in the AP poll, even though there's head-to-head there that Duke has won. Duke lost 2 other games. I'm not complaining about that. But ESPN, when their article about the AP poll, puts like a stat to know. Here's the stat to know about Duke. Cooper Flagg has reached 250 points, 75 rebounds, and 50 assists in conference play in just 11 games. The fewest games needed to hit those marks by any player in Division I in the last 25 years. That is impressive. But also, due to the state of the ACC, I am asking, do you think Hansborough or Jason Tatum or some of the other stat compilers, Marvin Bagley, would have been able to do that in this year's ACC compared to the one they were going up against? We'll never know. We'll never know, right? It's one of those what-if statements. But it's like, I wish we didn't have to play that game. I wish there were, like the women, right? The AP poll came out for the women's side. Duke, State, and UNC are all in the top 15. There are 7 teams from the ACC in the top 25, including Notre Dame, who's number 3. I wish the men's side was like that. So then if Cooper Flagg does something special like that stat I just read, I wouldn't have the immediate but take it with a grain of salt because he's not going up against a traditional ACC. That's tough. And that's no fault of any teams, right? Except for, I guess you could say, the ones that aren't playing super elite basketball.
By the way, real smart by Shire to schedule this game against Illinois, who's 23rd in the country, late in the year. Hey, you know what? This league might not be tough. Let's schedule something tough for us late in the year.
And they need Illinois to hold on. They need Illinois to start playing better basketball. They went through a rough stretch there where they lost 3 out of 4, 4 out of 5. I forget what it was. They're going to have to hold on and play better basketball to stay a top 25 team. But at least they're an unusual team. They're not a team that and a team that is playing in the ACC.
But it should be nonetheless probably they might be their toughest test the rest of the way.
True.
To be honest.
I wouldn't doubt that at all. I'll throw
maybe Clemson?
Well, Grant, even what we just saw, I'm still tempted to say you never know what you're going to get out of the UNC rivalry on the road.
Sure.
I'm tempted to say that, but it's hard to say it after Saturday. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Speaking of that UNC loss, I've heard it enough. We have to have the conversation. NC State and UNC. What's the status of their coaches and their seats and temperatures? Before we get to that, here's Dennis Cox.
Folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Lone Pronto. What could you do? Ask yourself this. What could you do with an extra $75,000 right now? Or even a couple $100,000? If you own a home, you can get that money in less than a week with Lone Pronto. Lone Pronto is the leader in quickly converting your home equity into cold, hard cash so you can pay off all your credit cards or start that home remodel. Lone Pronto has several easy options to let you access the cash from your home. There's virtually no paperwork, no cumbersome process, no junk fees, and often no appraisal. Listen, the average homeowner has over $300,000 in equity. That's your money. Use it. One client got $150,000 out and paid off all their credit cards, 2 car loans, and a personal loan, cutting their monthly expenses by $1,500. You can get approved in as little as 1 day. So act now with no hard credit pull up front. LoanPronto.com, 919-381-1760. Get the money you need for anything. 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan looks at coaching situations for the men's basketball head coaches of the Wolfpack and the Tar Heels. It's not a fun conversation, but it's one we have to have coming up.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
The Eagles' run game is based on the offensive line. Saquon Barkley does a great job with making second and third level defenders miss, but he's 15, 20 yards downfield. He doesn't get touched for 20 yards. I have a hard time saying that guy is the most important player on the team when nobody touches him for 2 first downs.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
A new game has landed in North Carolina. Officials are calling this new species of game Cash Pop. So easy to play, it's out of this world. Reports confirm you just pick and match one number to win up to $2,500. With 5 drawings every day, cash landings have been cited across the state. So be on the lookout for Cash Pop from the North Carolina Education Lottery. The wins are out there. Must be 18 to play. See Cash Pop prize and odds chart at nclottery.com for details. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Adam Gold in studio with my man Sammy Hanna, owner-operator of the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. I tell people this all the time. If I am doing a commercial for somebody, I am vouching for who they are and what they do. You guys do great work, but your customer service stands above all the great work that you do.
Adam, I truly appreciate that testimonial. And yeah, we try to take pride in our customer service and meet and exceed our homeowners' expectations on all their home improvement needs. Obviously, there's many companies out there that do what we do. If you Google home improvements, Raleigh, you're going to get many, many companies. But you're not going to find too many companies out there that have a 4.9 rating and over 800 Google reviews and over 7,000 Guild quality reviews. It takes a lot of work on our part to make sure we meet and exceed all your expectations on customer service. And we're going to continue to do so because that's why we've been in business since 1961.
I have used the Aluminum Company. I have not heard anyone that had anything but incredible things to say about all of you, and that is amazing. That's a testimony to how you guys do it. Aluminum Company of North Carolina, aluminumcompany.com.
Hey, this is Luke with Newcomb & Company. We are a residential, commercial, plumbing, HVAC company who's been serving the community for over 70 years. Honesty is the biggest policy around here. You know, we take pride in everything we do, anything we touch. We're not one of those companies that come and throw it in and then you can't get a hold of them again. We're there with you, hand in hand. Here at Newcomb & Company, what stands apart from other companies is we actually do more than just AC and heat pumps. We do boilers, geothermals, furnaces, radiant floor, anything that is odds and ends that nobody else can touch is what we thrive on. At Newcomb & Company, we do same-day service. That's also another thing that helps us stand apart from other places is we do same-day service because we have enough professionals to get out to these houses to solve what the problems are. And we're on 24/7 on emergency basis, weekends, nights, holidays, you name it, we're there. If you ever need us, give us a call. Visit our website at newcombandcompany.com. As you always hear us say, your comfort is our business.
When you buy a new house, you might say,
"Shut the front door."
Winning!
No, seriously, shut the front door. We own this house now.
But you actually need to say,
"Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there."
That's right. The local State Farm agent is there to help you choose the coverage you need.
Welcome to my crib. No one says that anymore, but I don't care.
So just remember, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.
Tim Donnelly here for Zero Res. Now, February is the month of love. And we're all guilty of it, right? We wait till something like February happens to love those that maybe we've been neglecting or let them know how much we care. Have you been doing that to your rugs, your floors, piling up with dirt and grime and dander? Well, Zero Res wants to love your rug. Love your rug special right now. 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at $109 and $100 off air duct cleaning. Visit ZeroResRaleigh.com or call 919-995-0000. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. The calls for coaching changes are getting loud enough for a few schools in the Triangle that I think it's time to discuss, right? I don't like it. I feel awkward by it, but you know, I read the same things that many of you read, and you go from there. We'll start with UNC. We'll go to State shortly after. Dan Wolken of USA Today is a longtime sports writer. He's covered the sport in a bunch of different capacities. Started his article on UNC and Hubert Davis with a metaphorical flamethrower. I'm just gonna read you the first couple sentences because this, like, I want to see your reaction the same way I read, like, my reaction. I'm sure my face. I'm bad at covering my emotions. Like, if I were just reading it, if my camera were on my computer, it would have been like, whoa, would have seen my eyes get big. This is how it started. As North Carolina officials assess the state of their basketball program in Hubert Davis's 4th season, they only need to ask themselves one simple question. Do they have one of the top 10 basketball coaches in the country or not? If the Tar Heels believe they do, then Davis should get one more chance to fix a program that looks shockingly broken. If they conclude that Davis isn't a top 10 coach, then they need to make a change. They need to do it after this season, and they need to hire someone who fits in that category regardless of whether that person has any prior connection to the school. All right, that's now I'm back to the show.
Yeah.
A flamethrower.
Mm-hmm.
Top 10 coach is such a high threshold. That's not like, oh, is he a good coach? Oh, can you win a national title with him? Oh, that's top of the top of the top. Because if you look at top 10 coaches in the country, a lot of those guys aren't available. And there's not a bunch of schools out there with one of the top 10 coaches in the country that are just waiting for somebody else to come poach them. But at the same time, you have to hit with UNC is such a highly thought of position, and maybe they could just go out there and poach one of the top 10 coaches in the country. And if you can do that, that does put a certain amount of pressure on your current coach. Right? If you are a lesser program, of which darn near everybody is, if you're a lesser program, you might give your coach 5 years, 6 years, 7 years to develop into the peak of their coaching potential. But if you're UNC, it's like, kind of why? When you could just go pick someone who's already one of the 10 best at the profession. I hate to say it, it's because, people get mad when you're a fan of like multiple different teams in different parts of the country and they're all just the big brands. It's very Lakers-like. The Lakers could draft someone, work hard, develop them, turn them, or they can just trade for Luka because everybody wants to go play for the Lakers, right? They could draft someone, develop them up, or just sign LeBron and sign Shaq in free agency because everybody wants to play for the Lakers. You could take a coach who shows signs of being a great coach and give them just loads of runway and resources to go ahead and turn into the coach that you hope they'll be, or you can just go hire someone who's already the coach that you hope they'll be. And that's unfair to the coach that you hire that maybe wants time to develop because, everyone needs time to develop in their job. And I'm going to take it one step further. Learn from your football program. You need a coach with leverage to get the program to where it should be. The school being motivated to hire Bill Belichick led them to find the money for a lot of things that they might not have found otherwise. Right? Suddenly there's money that wasn't there before because you were able to go, if we want Bill Belichick, we got to figure out how to fill in the blank. Let's say, now we're going hypothetical. I'm not calling for it, but let's say they move on from Hubert. Let's say Nate Oates from Alabama or Billy Donovan from the NBA or one of the big flashy names says, yeah, I'll come to UNC, but I need to see in writing in my contract X amount of NIL support, X amount of front office support. I need to not only have a GM, but a director of scouting, both high school, college. I need to have all of these things that you have at a premier program that UNC should. And whether it's there or not, to get this coach, this crown jewel, now you have to. It's almost like, maybe not identical, but there's this saying about like kind of my generation that we job hop. And that's, they say it's the fastest way to accelerate your career, right? Go to this place, that place, this place, that place. As long as you're getting a promotion every time, you're going to be fine. Jumping coaches can be that way too. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, Hubert's already here. He knows he's not living up to standards right now. He's not going to go in and demand a whole bunch of stuff in NIL because he's just happy that, he's getting another shot at it. The next coach might demand some things, and that might be the difference. NC State, on the other hand, they have a different problem. One Final Four every handful of years is probably enough for some in that fan base, right? It took them 40 years to get there once again.
Every handful of years? I mean, from 83 to 2024?
Yeah. But if you could do, Kevin Keatts has been there, we'll call it a decade, round number. One time every decade to the Final Four, there are going to be some in the fan base that are like, we waited 40 years, I'm going to wait 8. You have to ask yourself this if you're a State fan or if you're a State administrator. How low do the lows have to be to undo one massive, massive high? Missing the ACC tournament has to be unacceptable, and it has to be obvious that it's unacceptable. If they miss the ACC tournament, not the NCAA tournament, the ACC tournament, which includes missing the NCAA tournament, how do you show that it's unacceptable without damaging your program if he's still around, right? and I'm not saying there's not an answer to that question. I'm just saying you got to find it, right? Can you publicly say that season is totally and completely unacceptable for a program like NC State to miss the ACC tournament and then still expect that coach to be able to improve, because that kind of cuts the legs out from under him? How do you recruit when that just happened? How does anybody buy into the future when that just happened? Last year's run, I believe, should have raised the floor of State. I'm not saying that, all right, now that you made it, you should be top of the ACC every year. Now that you won the ACC tournament, made a Final Four, now that's the expectation. But it should raise the floor a certain amount, right? I don't think it's outrageous to say, now that you've been the national story, now that you've proven you can turn guys into national kind of phenomenons, well, maybe that should eliminate finishing in the bottom 4 of an 18-team ACC.
Right now, you're tied for basically bottom 2.
It's like maybe that you should raise the absolute bottom basement expectation to 14th in the ACC. Like, I'm not asking for the moon and the stars. I'm just asking for a little bit of separation between the basement and you. There are very, very difficult questions that both of these programs have to ask, and they have to have really, really solid answers, because if you don't, it's near impossible to manage a program with those questions hanging over your head. Doesn't it feel, and I've used this example in the past, sorry if I'm a broken record on it, doesn't it feel like after this season there's going to be press conferences saying we're not firing the coach? And that's never a good sign.
No, it's not. When you get the vote of confidence.
Like that nobody asked for.
Yeah.
Like just hey, we got a press conference coming up, and I just want to let you know everything that was before the press conference is still true after the press conference, and like an athletic director puts out a statement. It's not a good sign. So for me, these last 9-10 games of the year for both of these squads, you better build up some momentum so there's something to point to going into the offseason that makes those questions a little bit obsolete. Now, there's no nails in coffins yet, but there's questions being asked that are really difficult to answer. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Also, I have some more questions that are difficult to answer, like what are you getting your special someone for Valentine's? Tim Donnelly here for Bailey's Fine Jewelry. And Bailey's Fine Jewelry right now has a gift guide, a Valentine's gift guide on baileybox.com. I'm calling that like the playbook, right? You go in there, then you just pick a play. It's already designed up. You don't have to draw it up in the dirt. They've got the plays. They can coach you up. They can take you to the heart-shaped jewelry. They can take you to the Bailey's collections. They can take you to that. She mentioned this one time that she wanted a birthstone of our kid. I don't know. I know the birthday. Can you help me out with that? Bailey's Fine Jewelry can help you out with all of it. It's a way that we can all win on Valentine's Day, right? Valentine's Day isn't like a football game or a basketball game. There doesn't have to be one winner and one loser. We can all win, and Bailey Box wants to coach us to that W, to that victory. So go ahead and check them out, Bailey's Fine Jewelry. You can stop by. I prefer the Village District location in Raleigh because that's also where the watch shop is, Fox and Bailey. And I'm a bit of a watch aficionado. I don't know if that's true, but I love watches. I'll call it that. And you can also check out the main showroom and everything else. But I'd encourage you to go to baileybox.com, check out the Valentine's gift guide, see if there's something there that piques your interest, and then use the experts as your coach to get the big old victory for you and your special someone on Valentine's Day. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. The starting 5 is coming up next. One of the crazier weekends of non-football action. The NBA took center stage. Coming up.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and do you have a late-night craving for in-depth analysis on the Carolina Hurricanes and their latest game, their latest win, their pursuit of a Stanley Cup? Well, I can quench your thirst. I can feed that appetite on the Canes Corner podcast, the morning after edition, which drops the morning after every Hurricanes game. Get it wherever you get your podcast. Brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina.
Best best idea for both of you this Valentine's Day? Adam and Eve. Everybody wins when you walk in with a gift from your local Adam and Eve store. Maybe you've been to one of our 6 Triangle locations. Maybe this is the reason you've been waiting for. Adam and Eve stores are filled with romantic, intimate gifts, from playful to passionate and everything in between. They'll even gift wrap it for you. Shop in store today and get a free gift with a qualifying purchase at your local Adam and Eve, where pleasure begins and passion never ends.
Jackson Hewitt makes taxes feel like a yacht rock song.
April breeze, give me my biggest tax refund, please. You, me, and a lifetime accuracy guarantee.
And now get $100 just to try Jackson Hewitt. Does your tax person do that?
Say goodbye to that no guarantee tax guy.
Ready to sail through tax season? Go to Jackson Hewitt and you'll be... Limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money, because you're in charge. And right now, you're going to pay for groceries. But you decide what groceries. Just keep in mind you're running out of dishwashing soap. But you decide if you're going to buy that soap. Just those dishes won't clean themselves, will they? Remember, with Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then, you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Hi, welcome to Staples. Hi, I hear Staples can print it all for my business.
Oh, if you can think it, Staples can print it, and will beat any print quote.
Oh, great. I'm thinking new brochures and yard signs.
No problem.
I'm thinking calendars, t-shirts, and pens.
Totally.
I'm thinking Staples is the place for printing.
I thought you might think that.
Right now at Staples, get up to $250 off your print purchase. Ends 4/5 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for offer details. Price match guarantee valid in store and staples.com/print. Visit staples.com/price match for details.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and I'm not sure you're aware of this. No, of course you're aware of this. Super Bowl 59 is here. It's the big week, and no better way to make every moment more exciting than with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. They make it easy to have the most fun during the big game. Saquon Barkley, 25 or more rushing yards in each quarter. You can do that. That's hard. Either quarterback to catch a pass, that could happen. How about a big man touchdown? Any offensive lineman to score a TD. Place a $5 bet. If you win, you get $200 in bonus bets. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. That's FanDuel.com/Adam Gold for FanDuel, official partner of Super Bowl 59. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score! WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRAL meteorologist Mike Mays. We warmed up in a nice way today, even more so on Tuesday, before we cool back down on Wednesday. 48 the low tonight, mostly sunny, 76 for your Tuesday. That would tie an old record. Could be in the 40s on Wednesday.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones at the closing bell down 122 points to 44,421.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting 5.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Before we jump into the starting 5, we have a way to possibly win you a pair of tickets to the Outlaw Music Festival at Coastal Credit Union Music Park on July 27th. All you have to do is text the keyword FEST, F-E-S-T. Text the keyword FEST to 919-860-5326, and you'll be entered for a chance to win a pair of tickets to the Outlaw Music Festival. As I mentioned, Coastal Credit Union Music Park, July 27th. That's good right now. You can text it in right now. If you're driving, wait till you pull over, and then text in right then. FEST is the keyword, F-E-S-T. That's all you have to send in to 919-860-5326. Now, let's start the starting five, starting with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Lobs it right. Styles. He steps into a triple. Had to have it right of the circle and gets it.
Speaking of pick and pops.
That was definitely the bright spot for NC State. Styles knocking down threes, 6 of them on just 8 attempts. Pretty unbelievable efficiency there.
Like 24 points overall, if I remember correctly.
24 points for old Styles from Kinston. State lost to Clemson. Ended up being by double figures. They had cut it down to 6 with just under 4 minutes to play. Felt like there was some momentum on their side. Clemson was able to shut the door. Kevin Keatts, the head coach, reflecting on 2 close losses, including Duke. It's funny, right? Close losses. They both ended double figures. But I promise you, if you watched them, they were close losses, and why they've been coming up short in those recent games.
If you look at those 2 games, you say you're right there. You look at them and you say, man, we have gotten better. We just didn't win a few games that could have went the other way earlier. And so if you win those games early and you don't play well against, or you play Duke and Clemson the way you do, now you're saying, well, man, they got a chance. That being said, we have been in every game because our heart's always on the line, and our guys show up every night. Sometimes it comes to just maybe the other guys has a few more better players than we do, and we just got to keep figuring it out and keep plugging.
It's so tough to use that logic, right? If we would have won a few of those other games, and these games wouldn't have seemed quite so bad, and if we would have won this one, or one break goes this way, then we're not on a 6 or 7 game losing streak. It's different, and we're in a different place, and yeah, that is true. But guess what? You didn't win those close games, and you didn't win these close games. So you're not in a different place. You're in the place that you are. I could sit here and talk hypotheticals till I'm out of breath. Matter of fact, sports radio, sometimes it's exactly what we do. Sometimes we just, if this would have gone this way and if that would have gone that way, then this happens and that happens and all of this crazy stuff. And oh boy. Yeah, that's our job. Right? It's the same thing of it's if you take away that 18-0 run they went on in the second half, we win the game. And I'm like, well, you can't take away the 18-0 run. If we would have won those earlier games, these 2 wouldn't have felt so bad. It's like, well, you didn't win those games, so this one feels pretty bad. It's actually why when you looked at the schedule, the SMU Duke Clemson run, which they've just went on, and they were in it all the way down to the last handful of minutes in all 3. It was potentially a run that was going to solidify their status as one of the bottom teams in the ACC, or it was the perfect opportunity to turn your season. It was high risk, high reward. Right? They had lost to North Carolina, lost at Virginia Tech, lost to Cal, SMU, Duke, Clemson. You win 2 of those, everything changes. You lose all 3, well, now you've lost whatever it is, 8 of your last 9. You've lost your last 6. You're on this losing streak, and the light at the end of the tunnel looks bleak because you're going to Cal and to Stanford, which they're not anything absolutely terrifying, but I do have a stat here. This comes from Connor O'Neill on Twitter, covers the ACC for Deacons Illustrated and Devils Illustrated. Stanford is 12-1 at home. They are 6-0 at home against East Coast teams. Cal, not a very tremendous basketball team this year. They are 9-4 at home, 4-3 at home against East Coast teams. Both Wake Forest and NC State play both of them on the road out there in Cal this week. It's You could sit there all year if you're State saying, well, if we would have won these, this wouldn't be as bad a stretch. But until you win some of them, it's going to be a bad stretch, and you got to answer for that. Right? It's my favorite thing, right? After you make a mistake, saying my bad. So you can keep saying my bad, or you could stop being bad. Right? You can keep saying, if we would have won those, this one wouldn't hurt. Or you can win a couple of those, and then this one won't hurt. That's number 5. Let's hit number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
Toss it to the left side. Barkley's got a lane to the 50, to the 45. Spin move to the 40. Barkley still going. Zigzags inside. 20, 15, 10. Touchdown! Saquon Barkley! He is incredible!
Seems like the world is rooting for the Eagles in this one. Super Bowl week, by the way, starts in earnest today. Both teams landed yesterday. It's the whole pomp and circumstance of the week. Saquon is going to be, if the Eagles win, Saquon becomes one of the more intriguing people in the NFL. First of all, by all accounts, he is an unbelievable person. I told you earlier that I read the Athletic article, which was all myth-making of Saquon. They went back and talked to college coaches and everything, and everybody had an anecdote about how awesome Saquon was. I'll give you one here. He was at a regional track and field event in high school, okay? Now imagine this. Saquon, pretty fast, right? Pretty good at track. The women's 100 or the girls' 100-meter dash takes place. Boom. Run. We'll call. Give me the what's the Joe Schmo equivalent? Jane Doe. Should we go Jane Doe?
Sure.
Jane Doe wins the women's 100-meter dash. But guess what? There was a malfunction in the timing device. You can't advance on regionals unless they have an official time. The timing device didn't work. They had to run it again. And guess what happens? Jane Doe doesn't win. She won the first. She doesn't win the second.
Brutal.
Saquon Barkley, men's or boys 100-meter dash up next. He wins. Guess what he does? Takes his gold medal, goes and gives it to Jane Doe. You deserved it. You really won the race. Look how good of a dude Saquon is. Unbelievable person. Easy to root for. Meanwhile, what is Kansas City? Also pretty likable guys, but it seems like everybody's decided to make them like the big bad villain. It's crazy how that happens. You either stop winning quick enough to remain a star that everybody likes, or you win long enough, consistently enough to become the enemy. Everybody still loves Matt Stafford. He won one Super Bowl and knew to stop winning them and remain on everybody's good side. Patrick Mahomes won 3 of them things in 4 years, going for 4 out of 5, and now all of a sudden everybody's tired of him and they don't like him, and the refs are giving him wins. Saquon's the new hotness. He's the new cool guy.
There's always the story, and the money is always in the chase.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yep.
The money's always in the chase. Can the Eagles and Saquon and all these guys, can they finally chase down Kansas City? The story's in the chase, and that's what people root for.
Can anybody chase down Kansas City?
That's it. Like pro wrestling. The heel, the bad guy, that's the champion. Who can take down the champ? Who can take the hero's journey to go win the title? That's the same thing.
Has there never been a good guy champ?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Why can't you be those guys?
Yeah, but eventually they lose.
Everybody, I assume, except for whoever the current champ is.
Or you do the smart thing, you flip them. You flip them to the bad guy.
So what you're saying is the NFL is smart to flip the Chiefs to the bad guy?
It's scripted, right?
So what you're saying is the new State Farm commercials should have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid just talking about how awesome they are and how nobody else can touch them, and asking if you can smell what the Andy Reid is cooking?
Yeah.
I'm down. I want to see it. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That is number 4. Let's get to number 3.
Swing it right, Irving, get it back. Straight on triple. Luka Doncic, that's good. Doncic a game high 15, and he is well on his way to a 6th career playoff triple-double.
Luka Doncic is a Laker.
This would happen Saturday night, right? Saturday night.
It was, yes, Saturday.
This was after the Duke-Carolina game.
Like midnight, like super late. Do you know how bad of a trade this was for the Dallas Mavericks?
So awful.
Shams Charania, who's like the new Woj, he's the new NBA insider, breaking news for ESPN, tweeted out this trade and then had to tweet out like 4 more times. No, really, this is real. I'm not hacked.
Yeah.
This actually happened. This trade is real. Because it was such a bad trade, nobody believed it. That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. Anthony Davis is Maverick. And you know what? I'm gonna take 30 seconds here to defend Anthony. Anthony Davis is catching some strays. He is a top 75 player in the history of the game. He is unbelievably good player. The issue is he's like 6 or 7 years older than Luka Doncic, and Luka Doncic's ceiling is already higher than Anthony Davis's kind of ever was.
And Davis is constantly hurt.
They do call him street clothes.
Yeah.
That's what Charles Barkley has coined him. I've heard him called Dated Davis. There's when you have multiple nicknames about how often you're hurt, that says something about you. Luka's really good. And so I hosted on ESPN, the National, last night. And basically we spent 4 hours trying to find justification for this trade. The only hint of justification that anybody came up with was Luka doesn't stay in exceptional shape, right? There were some reports that he got up over 260. And it's just, he's not the most in shape guy in the world.
Okay.
My point is,
he's still one of the 3 best players in the league.
Out of shape Luka has more first-team All-NBAs than Steph Curry.
Yep.
Out of shape Luka is like you said, he's one of the 3 best players in the league out of shape. And by the way, he's 25 years old. Would he be the first person in their late 20s to recognize, I got to start working on my body a little bit more. I can't eat the burgers and drink like I used to, so let me go ahead and lock in. Would he be the first 27-year-old to figure that out? No, he would not. And now he's going to the Lakers. By the way, I don't hate the Lakers. I'm not somebody that's like so anti like big market teams always have. I think the league is better when they're good, but it just seems like they should have to earn it. Shouldn't be able to just, we would like another superstar. Here you go. LeBron might not be an All-NBA player soon. Here you go.
The thing is, like, that's all you had to trade to get him? That was it?
Hey, they had to give up Max Christie.
Who?
And a 2029 first.
Wow. No, 9 second-round picks. No pick swaps for the next 12 years.
Well, the other thing is, what was it, yesterday night, so less than 24 hours after the Luka trade, there was a De'Aaron Fox trade.
Yes.
De'Aaron Fox, all-star for the Kings, ends up being traded to the Spurs. It's a 3-team trade. They bring in the Bulls. Zach LaVine ends up a King. He's another former all-star. It was a much more traditional NBA trade. Multiple big names moving. There's like 1 billion second-rounders, 1 billion first-rounders, other players of merit. Kind of, it's like this was a puzzle piece. The Luka AD trade basically feels like a 25-year-old top 3 player in the league for a 31, 32-year-old top 25 player in the league and a first-round pick 1 billion years in the future.
Yeah, for a high school sophomore.
Yeah, literally. And you know what else is crazy about it? This is the last thing I'll say, just because there's the NBA, the best thing they have going for them are these trades. It's like the reality television element of it makes it so much more drama filled than even the games. Do you know who the winner is? Somehow OKC owns a pick swap with Dallas in 2029 when Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis are going to be 35 and 36 years old.
Yeah.
So it'll be just in time for the OKC to get another lottery pick, and they'll be like, I don't know, Chris Paul's son ready to play. I don't know. It's hard to say who the stud will be in 2029. Maybe another Knipple, right?
Yeah,
They got 5 of them coming up. They'll get some lottery pick out of it because that's all OKC does is stack picks.
By the way, you look at the NHL and the NBA the last couple weeks with trades. Been a lot of big high-profile ones. Who did it first? Canes. Mikko Rantanen. Started everything. Trendsetters.
One of the great motivations for trades is FOMO. If everybody else is making trades, it just that's why some years there's trade deadlines in every sport where nothing happens. And then some years there's trade deadlines like the NHL is especially going through right now, and the NBA in the last 48 hours is going through, where everybody does it. I think it's just everybody's doing something. Let me make some calls. Eric Tulsky was the catalyst. JT Miller got traded. You know that all started with the Canes. At least that one started with the Canes. We'll talk Canes in a little bit. They're
speaking of
going through some things. Number 2.
Just the two. Thomas lost it. Now here comes Robinson the other way. He scores! The Canes kept it rolling and right on cue. Eric Robinson's 12th of the year.
Canes lost to the Kings. Here's what I'm calling that game. Feels unsatisfying. Svech didn't play. Upper body, is that what we're calling it? Upper body injury?
Yeah, it was upper body.
Aho and Hall were back, but I mean, you never, even when you're not sick anymore, if it's the right kind of sickness, like it sticks with you for a few days, you're still kind of in that post-sick fog. If you watched it, it felt unsatisfying.
Rod even said today after their practice that he's about 6-7 guys still kind of going through it.
Yeah.
It's like, that's the third of your team.
It changes the whole vibe pregame when you're going around the locker room like, hey, man, you good? Rather than like looking him in the eye like, lock in, let's go. It's like, hey, you can be able to give us something today? Like, it's just such a different vibe. So I'm doing my darndest to, not get on Dmitry Orlov so aggressively for not having a good day, and then kind of getting benched and kind of having Rod after the game just say, like, hey, he wasn't having a good day. We needed him to sit next to us. Because you never know what he's going through physically. He's been in the same locker room as all these other guys that are getting sick. It's Freddie Anderson, you lose focus for a while. I'm like, was he sitting there, lightheaded and dizzy? Like, we just don't know. So I'm doing my best to rein in some of that stuff. And we'll talk about it more in depth later on in the show. But it's
hard to see the puck if you're dealing with sinus pressure.
Yeah, right? It's like if every time it goes to the opposite end of the ice, you're just like, oh, thank goodness. You're not going to be locked in when the puck comes flying back the other way after a turnover. Apparently my impression of someone being sick sounds a lot like Napoleon Dynamite. Oh, yes. What number was that, 2? Let's get to number 1.
Go 1! 3 on 2, it's Cooper to the rack, put it up, counted and a foul! It's an avalanche, and it's 17-6.
Duke beat UNC by a bunch on Saturday. It was actually, you know what? Here's the question that I got asked. That is, I think, an excellent way to break down that day. This comes from somebody that is a sports fan, but is not necessarily tuned in to college basketball. But they're going to tune in for UNC at Duke because so many casual sports fans do. And this is what came in 7-13, which is the game's not even over. Tim, is Duke that good or UNC that bad? Both?
Yes. Yes.
My response was both. Horrible matchup for UNC, though. UNC has no size, and Duke is the biggest team in the country. It was a bad matchup for UNC. And they tried to zag when the common logic would say zig. Right? You could have started maybe Jalen Washington and Withers, right? 6'10", 6'11", to try to combat some of the size. You should have played Drake Powell earlier in the game because he is 6'6" and has the athleticism to keep up with some of the size of Duke. Instead, Hubert Davis maybe outthought himself a little bit and rolled out 4 guards and a 6'8" undersized big in Van Allen Lubin in the starting lineup and tried to kind of, outrun Duke or try to get mismatches on the perimeter where some of the big guys of Duke would have to guard smaller, quicker players. And it just didn't work. It just didn't work. Here's Hubert Davis after the game to the press.
It's just turning the ball over. We've talked at great length how important it is to take care of the ball in 2 ways. One, obviously unforced turnovers and shot selection. And our live ball turnovers are turning into pick 6 plays for the opponent. So, giving teams, and just for example, tonight, Duke getting 19 points off of 14 turnovers, that's just against good teams. That's just not going to work. And so
just got to do a better job at taking care of the basketball. But at the beginning of the game, that was the one key that got us in the hole early.
I don't know when basketball coaches started saying pick sixes, but I love it because it happened so many times, right? It's not like a if we're just going to stay with the football analogy, it's not a like 3rd and 20 interception on the 5-yard line where it's like, it's kind of a punt, right? End of shot clock, trying to make something happen, you turn it over, that's one thing. UNC sometimes just on like skip passes around the perimeter early in the shot clock, deflected, taken away into an easy bucket on the other end, and it just deflates you early in a contest.
I said the highlight that we played to start talking about this game was off of a Malik Brown steal. Cooper Flagg goes down and scores, and there's a couple times Cooper Flagg himself early in the game got steals on the defensive end. He had found Sion James for one and also found Tyrese Proctor for another. So it was defense to offense for Duke early in the game, and I'm wondering – maybe Hubert thought, hey, I'm going to start 4 guards, better ball handlers to combat their defense. Well, obviously it didn't work.
It's I don't want to, like, I just kind of did it. Like, I don't want to bash Hubert for trying something new because something like there was no logical answer to dealing with one of the wingspaniest starting fives in college basketball. Maybe in basketball, right? As Chris Lee, WRAL, pointed out in a video I was watching earlier, Duke's average height is taller than the NBA's average height. So, like, they have legit size. There's no easy option there. It just seemed like, oh, they're so tall and so lanky, we're going to go small. I mean, that's a risk there, and it didn't exactly pay off for him, especially because Duke was playing crisp. Like, it was one of their better days, knocking down. They shot 50% from 3. If that's sometimes the Achilles heel of Duke is they don't necessarily shoot it great. If they're shooting the 3 at I would say anything above 40%, they're going to be very difficult to deal with. And they shot 50% from 3, which is a whole other beast. Just because we haven't played this clip yet and I want to hear it. John Shire on the emphasis on clean offensive looks that maybe they haven't gotten and definitely didn't get against NC State.
Well, I thought, I think I helped them better because I thought we got too stagnant in those other games, and I can't let that happen. Our guys really executed well. The passes that we made, we 20 assists, of course, but I thought we just had some great connecting, sharing plays. And then, obviously, when you can get out in transition, that's a big deal. But I thought our half-court offense to manufacture some easy looks was night and day, a lot better.
Well, I thought I did a pretty darn good job in this one. What he was trying to say was he didn't do as good a job in other games, but it did. I thought I helped them more. It's just a funny way to say it. Well, in this one, I did a fantastic job. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we grab our numbers game contestants, and we will be grabbing numbers game contestants, here's Dennis Cox.
Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. I'm going to do a better job of telling you all how you can win a custom motorcycle. Just go to caniacsbike.com, folks. It's that simple, caniacsbike.com. The Carolina Hurricanes, Law Tigers, Tobacco Road, Harley-Davidson, Shiny Side Paint, they've all teamed up together once again to give one lucky fan a custom Caniacs motorcycle. That's right, it's a custom-built motorcycle, custom painted, in Canes colors, Canes decals, Carolina Hurricanes logos, the whole bit. Truly one-of-a-kind bike, folks. You can enter for your chance to win it. Just go to caniacsbike.com. Just register right there. It was built right here in Raleigh, Tobacco Road, Harley-Davidson, where I happen to buy my motorcycle from. Ashley over at Shiny Side Paint did a phenomenal job. When you go to caniacsbike.com to enter for your chance to win, you'll see pictures of the bike right there. Absolutely gorgeous bike. You have until April 6th. That's the deadline in order to enter to win. But don't wait. Just go ahead and do it now. Go to caniacsbike.com. The bike will be given away on the ice at the last home game of the season. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, needs a couple of numbers game contestants. The prize for today is a $50 gift card to Adam and Eve. Valentine's Day is right around the corner, so spice up your love life with a trip to Adam and Eve. Visit any of the 6 Triangle Adam and Eve locations where pleasure begins and passion never ends. We need 2 numbers game contestants. Call in now, 919-860-5326. Numbers game next.
Move your sports day forward.
They felt that they couldn't get there with Marty Necas and Jack Drury. That's what a trade is. It wasn't going to work with those two guys. But perhaps with Mikko Rantanen and Taylor Hall, it does work. And maybe that window just got a little bit bigger. Time will tell. Time will tell. That is the biggest elephant in the room. This is a new era of Carolina Hurricanes hockey.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
This is Gordon Miller with Miller Lending and Cary, and I have a question. When it comes time to buy a house, do you just look at one? Probably not. So when it comes time to working with a lender, multiple surveys have shown that borrowers who requested multiple quotes were far more likely to receive better terms when compared to those who likely only spoke to one. So why Miller Lending? As a mortgage broker, we're not limited to only one lender, as is the case with your bank. We act as more of a one-stop shop. With access to over 24 lenders, it's not uncommon to receive multiple bids for your mortgage. Recently, we've saved numerous homeowners upwards of $10,000 or more in closing costs for the same interest rate they'd been quoted. Now, while you may think all lenders are the same, they aren't. So whether it's a no closing cost purchase, our highly competitive FHA, VA, or jumbo rate, see why thousands of satisfied clients have chosen Miller Lending as their lender for life. 919-447-3377, or simply apply online at millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender and MLS number 250-2146.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why it's never ordinary at Bet365.
21 plus only. Must be physically located in North Carolina. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. T&Cs apply.
Hey guys, Valentine's Day is right around the corner, and Cupid's arrow is pointing straight to Bailey's. We're here to help and make it easy for you to find the perfect gift for the one you love. Bailey's has something for everyone and every budget. We have a huge selection of jewelry and gifts for under $500, from David Yurman, Apolita, Mikimoto, Lagos, and more. And if you're looking for something extra special, we also have an amazing selection of diamond jewelry. Shop in-store or online at baileybox.com. Give her a gift that's better than chocolate or roses with the easiest and can't-miss way to make her Valentine's Day extra special with a little black and white striped box from Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Located in Raleigh's Village District and Crabtree Valley Mall, also in Cary's Fenton, Rocky Mount, and Greenville. Just a little reminder from me, Marcy Bailey. Every woman wants a Bailey box.
When it comes to the biggest games of all time, the original Abbey Road Tavern and Grill is the road to a good time. This year for the big game, come get your appetizers, buy one, get one half off. Take out or dine in. Dine in and also score great drink specials like $5 Bloody Marys and mimosas, $3.50 Coors Banquet and Yingling Fight Bottles, $9 Yingling Personal Pitchers, and all Crown Royal flavors are just $6. It's the original Abbey Road Tavern and Grill for the big game in Cary on West Chatham Street and Apex on Center Street. AbbeyRoadNC.com.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection, one that helps better their everyday through the things they value most: friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
Something amazing is happening in business. More companies are turning to Mac. From finance to fulfillment, CDW will seamlessly support Mac integration into your organization. With the power of Apple Silicon, best-in-class security, and compatibility across your favorite apps, your team will have the performance they need and the tools they love. Make amazing happen. Mac and CDW. Learn more at cdw.com/Apple.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. The prize for today, a $50 gift card to Adam and Eve. Valentine's Day is right around the corner, so spice up your love life with a trip to Adam and Eve. Visit any of the 6 Triangle Adam and Eve locations where pleasure begins and passion never ends. The contestants for today are Chance in Raleigh and Jose in Durham. As always, we'll ask a question. Dennis will pick his favorite answer, and that person will get to go first. Chance in Raleigh, you're up first. You ready to answer?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, the question is, what was your favorite part about the past weekend? But because we are a sports show, keep it sports related.
Oh, man, I would have to say that as embarrassing as it was and difficult to see, I appreciate my heels showing up for the Duke game, even if the result was a little hard to bear.
All right. Dennis is nodding along. We'll see if that answer ends up being chosen. Jose in Durham, same question to you. What was your favorite part about this past weekend? But because we're a sports show, keep it sports related.
Yeah, of course. I really appreciate the heels showing up to Cameron Indoor as well because we put that BTA.
That's an all-time setup right there. That answer, when you know you're a Duke fan, that is just an all-time setup. Dennis, which answer is your choice?
That was a perfect setup there. I got to go with Jose on this one.
All right.
That was a good one. That was very well done. But, I will say this, though. Chance, the fact that he said, hey, you know what? Still proud of my team. Still proud of my team. Still proud of my school. I respect that.
You just didn't pick it.
No. I respect it, but I'm still going to get the win to Jose.
All right. Jose gets to go first. Don't worry, though, Chance. Not only do you have some of Dennis's respect, you also get to go second. And you just have to wait around on the line there for a couple of minutes here. Jose, are you ready to pick a category?
I am ready.
All right. The categories are NFL road trip. These are all players whose names have something to do with road trips. NFL expected top 50 AFC fantasy footballers in 2025. NBA pandemic team. These are all players from the 2021 Tokyo Olympics. Or NHL Hurricanes only.
Let's go with the NFL road trip.
All right. All players whose names have something to do with a road trip. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. 1 pass if you need it. Any questions?
None.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Keyshawn Johnson, New York Jets.
19.
Correct. Drake London, Atlanta Falcons.
5.
Correct. Donald Driver, Green Bay Packers.
81.
Incorrect. T.Y. Hilton, Indianapolis Colts.
11.
Incorrect. Donald Driver, Green Bay Packers.
80.
Correct. Joe Montana, San Francisco 49ers.
16.
Correct. T.Y. Hilton, Indianapolis Colts.
19.
Incorrect. T.Y. Hilton, Indianapolis Colts.
13.
Correct. Look at that. We are on fire. I'm just saying. Like last month, it's been unreal.
28 seconds.
28 seconds. So you had 2 to spare, but it would have taken me a while to say T.Y. Hilton again. Congratulations. You have a perfect score, 28 seconds. It's not official, but it's a good chance that you'll be getting the prize. Go ahead and stand the line. We'll see if it holds up. And I did not do that intentionally. Chance and Raleigh, you're up next. Chance, are you ready to pick a category?
Yeah, we'll try our best not to have a repeat of Saturday night. Let's go.
At least you're kind of fun-loving about it. You can take a joke. The categories for you to choose from are NFL, players expected to be in the top 50 of AFC fantasy ballers for 2025. NBA pandemic team. These are all players from the 2021 Tokyo Olympic squad. And NHL Hurricanes only.
Let's do NFL AFC.
All right. I'll give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. 1 pass if you need it. You do need all 5 in less than 28 seconds for the win. Any questions before we get rolling?
Nope, all good.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Josh Allen, Buffalo Bills.
7.
Incorrect. Nico Collins, Houston Texans.
Pass.
Breece Hall, New York Jets.
11.
Incorrect. Josh Allen, Buffalo Bills.
9.
Incorrect. Nico Collins, Houston Texans.
10.
Incorrect. Breece Hall, New York Jets.
17.
Incorrect. Josh Allen, Buffalo Bills.
2.
Incorrect. Nico Collins, Houston Texans.
18.
Incorrect. Breece Hall, New York Jets. It kind of was like Saturday, wasn't it?
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Josh Allen, we were looking for number 17. You guessed 17 for one of the other guys, but Josh Allen was 17. Nico Collins with the Houston Texans, number 12, the wide receiver. And Breece Hall with the Jets, number 20. running back for the Jets. Unfortunately, you got 0. So no win, but hopefully you had some fun.
All good.
All
Appreciate
right.
you guys.
Appreciate you as well. Not the best. Showed up. His team got made fun of a little bit. He was granted a good sport, but he was the butt of a couple jokes, and then he got an offer.
Yep.
I'm glad he was able to have a little bit of fun though.
He smiled through the pain.
Yeah, I respect Chance for that one. I also respect Jose for the perfect score win. There you go, Jose. Congratulations.
Appreciate it, fellas.
That is a big old winner. So stay on the line. Dennis has some info he needs to grab from you to make sure that you get your prize. Stay on the line. I don't know if this is breaking news, Dennis, but there's something coming out of the Carolina Hurricanes that we will talk about.
Oh, I think I know
what
what you're talking
the
about.
break.
Scott Morrow. Huh?
Scott Morrow called up. Defenseman Riley Stillman has been assigned to Chicago. Morrow is one of the more talked about prospects for the Canes, so we'll have to discuss what that means for the Canes coming up. They're just getting knocked around by sickness and injury and everything else. So if Morrow can come up and give them some good minutes, might be something that is pretty darn interesting. Tell you that much. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We will talk about that coming up out of the break. Right now, Tim Donnelly here for DraftKings Sportsbook, specifically DraftKings Sportsbook ahead of the Super Bowl. This ain't the little itty-bitty, teeny-tiny bowl. This is the Super Bowl. Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 59. Scoring touchdowns, that's key to hoisting the Lombardi Trophy. And you can score big by betting on them scoring touchdowns at DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. If you're ready to place your first bet, try betting on something simple, like a player to score 6. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick. You can go as down the middle as Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, Travis Kelce. You can go as off the wall as maybe Dallas Goedert, maybe a kick returner. You might throw a Xavier Worthy in there, or maybe Patrick Mahomes is ready to run for another. New DraftKings customers, you can bet $5 right now to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. I'll tell you how. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code TIMD. That's code TIMD. With no spaces. For new customers, use that code at sign up and you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 877-185-543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus, North Carolina only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Scott Morrow being called up. What does it mean for the Canes? Stick around to find out. Coming up next.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
What if, instead of choosing between a big bank or a small bank, you could choose one bank that's the best of both? That's First Horizon. With big bank reliability and small bank resolve, you get 160 years of financial strength and stability and an enduring commitment to personal service. When the best of big meets the best of small, you get it all. To help you on the road to your horizon. First Horizon Bank. Visit firsthorizon.com/getitall.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. what are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $5.99. That's right, just $5.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
Best idea for both of you this Valentine's Day? Adam and Eve. Everybody wins when you walk in with a gift from your local Adam and Eve store. Maybe you've been to one of our 6 Triangle locations. Maybe this is the reason you've been waiting for. Adam and Eve stores are filled with romantic, intimate gifts, from playful to passionate and everything in between. They'll even gift wrap it for you. Shop in store today and get a free gift with a qualifying purchase at your local Adam and Eve, where pleasure begins and passion never ends.
Can your heating and air system handle the winter chill? Call Newcomb & Company to ensure your system is running at peak performance. As a Comfort Contract customer, you'll get priority service and a 15% discount on all HVAC and plumbing service calls and repairs. Newcomb & Company, your independent trained dealer, has proudly served our community for more than 70 years, delivering reliable comfort and peace of mind. Call 919-862-3000 or visit newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company, your comfort is our business.
Lowe's knows that your business is built on speed and trust. That's why the Lowe's Pro Desk is here to get you what you need the moment you need it. We'll help you plan your project, calculate your materials, and pivot when your job takes an unexpected turn. And with our pro-only checkout and dedicated pro parking, you have what you need to tackle your job and be back on the job in no time. Just visit us at the Pro Desk. Lowe's knows pros. We help. You save.
Tim Donnelly here for Zero Res. Now, February is the month of love, and we're all guilty of it, right? We wait till something like February happens to love those that maybe we've been neglecting or let them know how much we care. Have you been doing that to your rugs, your floors, piling up with dirt and grime and dander? Well, Zero Res wants to love your rug. Love your rug special right now. 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at $109 and $100 off air duct cleaning. Visit ZeroResRaleigh.com or call 919-995-0000.
Carolina will keep it in. Walker tees it up. They score! Net front presence. And there's the shoot mentality that the Canes always employ. And yes, Barry Kotkaniemi gets the tip on the Walker blast. It's 1-0 Carolina.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Coming up top of the hour, about 15 minutes, Wolfpack Weekly will be right here on 99.9 The Fan. You'll hear from Kevin Keatts. That's at 6 as he tries to explain the state of where the men's Wolfpack squad is going. And then you will hear the women's basketball team for NC State right here on 99.9 The Fan. As Duke travels to NC State, you'll hear the State broadcast right here on 99.9. If you want the Duke broadcast, that'll be on Buzz. I got the Buzz Sports Radio. I got the head nod from Dennis, which means I took notes well and said everything the way I should.
It's all covered.
Now I'll send it right back to Dennis. Scott Morrow is being recalled from the AHL for the Canes. Riley Stillman being assigned down to the Chicago squad in the AHL. What does this mean? What is Scott Morrow now getting? Is this his look, or is they need warm bodies defensemen that are ready to step in and play?
This to me tells me a couple things. First of all, you don't call up Scott Morrow, one of your top prospects from the American Hockey League, just to sit him in the press box, just to be the seventh guy. They're like, hey, if we need a guy, we'll put you in, but otherwise you'll sit up in the press box. That's what Ty Smith and Riley Stillman were for in that regard. So my guess is you don't call this guy up unless you're going to play him. Either there are a couple guys that are hurt, which in that case, why do you also send Stillman down? They making a move.
Interesting.
They making a move.
Because one of the benefits of having Scott Morrow and the expected eventual maneuvering of Alexander Nikishin over from the KHA in Russia to the NHL is you've got a lot of defensemen, and you have two that definitely, like Scott Morrow and Nikishin, seem to be the type of cost-controlled assets that you need to have if you're going to be spending the type of money that we think they're going to be spending. So does that make somebody, if you think they're prepared to play in the NHL, does that make somebody expendable? We know that there are, I don't even want to say we know that there are. Eric Tolsky has proven he's not afraid to make a move.
Oh, yeah.
Wheel and deal in Eric Tolsky. Mm-hmm. That would be interesting because if this were somebody sick, you need a game. If this were somebody's got a boo-boo or an ouchie, Riley Stillman you think would be able to handle that.
Yeah, reason why he's been there.
Scott Morrow seems like a guy that if he's going to get a chance, you're maybe seeing if you do trust him for a longer period of time, or you're saying he's ready. Right, the preheating of the oven, it beeped. Right, it's time to go, and now it's time. You can trade someone else away. Now, Dennis, my journalism hat is ringing. I have to ask this. If Morrow's coming up, who's the one that's expendable? Who's the one that could be on the way out?
That's what I was trying to wrap my head around is that too, because
in inferring, like reading tea leaves, obviously we just learned this news about Morrow. We don't have insider information, at least not yet.
That's a tough one to say. He's a right-handed defenseman.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Is it Orlov that's on the move? Jalen Chatfield can play on his offside as a right-handed defenseman. He can play on the left. I mean, is it Orlov that gets on the move, which is a high price tag? I mean, the Carolina Hurricanes could retain some of that salary if they wanted to. I don't know if it's him because, remember, Dmitry Orlov sat next to Rob Brindamore for a chunk of the latter part of that game on Saturday against the LA Kings. I don't know if it's that. I mean, Brent Burns is in the final year of his contract. I don't know if that's someone you move and, hey, let's slide a rookie into that situation. I don't know because we see Rob Brindamore playing Brent Burns a lot late in games, whether you agree with it or not. I don't know. The AHL All-Star game was set to take place, like their skills competition, all that stuff was this week, and they pulled him from that to call him up. I don't know. I highly doubt it was a, hey, let's protect this guy. I highly doubt it was one of those kinds of situations. But to me, you don't call this guy up unless you intend to play him.
Here's what I can pass along is, again, we're just reading tea leaves here. Walt Ruff, team reporter, about practice today before they traveled. The power play 1 unit was Aho, Blake, Jarvis, Rantanen, and Burns.
And Burns, yeah.
So I'd be very surprised if Burns is the one they're considering moving that quickly if Morrow's coming up here like for something bang in the next couple of days.
Unless you're planning on, you can slide Sean Walker in there or put Gostisbehere back up there.
You very easily could, but it's just, if that's what you were planning, it seems like Gostisbehere would just fit in nicely there.
Yeah.
Secondly, the thing I'll say is Blake's getting a lot of opportunities, right? He's skating top line. He's, as I just mentioned, power play 1, at least at practice this morning. It does seem like the Canes are starting to trust the young guys maybe a little bit more. And if Morrow slides in and plays solid defense, I'm just going to let you know where my imagination is running. If Orlov is on the way out, that feels big, right? Because of his salary. And he could be somebody you send out with picks or prospects or something to make a splash. Now, obviously, I'm thinking content here, right? This is, do you somebody's on your fantasy team and you're hoping that Ben Johnson, the best offensive coordinator, becomes his head coach. It's like, are you thinking that's actually what's going to happen, or are you just wishful thinking? I don't know which one's happening right now, but my mind is racing. And it wasn't that way until Dennis said, Scott Morrow's being called up. Could there be a move being made? Because it also could just be, somebody needs a breather. It'd be weird if they brought up Scott Morrow for that.
Yeah,
but it could be.
It very well could be, because, again, there might be a defenseman that's battling something and they know this person's going to play and get some top minutes. Maybe that is the situation, and that's what they're doing. Maybe they trust him. Hey, we'll probably trust him to play 16, 17, 18 minutes for a couple games as opposed to Riley Stillman. That might be the situation. I don't know. But when we saw the Carolina Hurricanes have to go 11 forwards and 7 defensemen just a few games ago, still went played 7 minutes and change, and it was perfectly fine, and the Canes won easily. So to me, you don't bring Scott Morrow up, one of your top young prospects, if you're just going to sit him.
And to be clear, there's no game today. The game would be tomorrow at Winnipeg. It's a later game, 8 p.m. So we'll have to wait a little bit to see what everybody is what their role is going to be. But it is a fascinating situation. There are like 4 names that for some reason and not for some reason, for good reason. They're legit prospects. Bradley Nadeau, Scott Morrow. It was Jackson Blake, but Felix Unger-Sorum is in that mix, and then Nikishin's almost in his own category coming from overseas. But those players seem to be the foundation of something for the Canes. And if they're being moved, if there's something happening there, first of all, it would seem intentional, right? You don't get backed into making a move with those players. You do what's best for their development, and you do what you think they're ready for. And also it could be the natural progression of how they see this roster developing, right? The best rosters in any sport, any professional sport, are a beautiful mixture of homegrown talent, draft and develop, and players acquired through things like free agency and trades. And if you look at the way this roster is built, they're like one big move away from being, I think, that really nice mixture. And I just feel like you have to say it out loud. Goalie? Question mark? Just saying it one time so it's on record that I said it in case something crazy happens. Goalie? Question mark. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. YouTube, follow us, subscribe, question mark. Do it. We want 15,000 subscribers. Once we hit 15,000, we're giving away a Seth Jarvis signed puck to one of our subscribers out there. It could be you if you're subscribed. So go ahead, 99.9 The Fan on YouTube. Wolfpack Weekly is coming up next. Hear from Kevin Keatts about the men's basketball squad over there at NC State. And we'll be back tomorrow for another edition of The Drive at 3 o'clock. See you then. Until then, have a great night, everybody.
From 32 to 2, Kansas City.
The Chiefs have won again. They have beaten the Buffalo Bills 32-29.
Philadelphia.
20, 15, 10, touchdown, Saquon Barkley.
Join 99.9 The Fan on Super Bowl Sunday, February 9th. Super Bowl Sunday on 99.9 The Fan is presented by First Horizon Bank and Wakeman. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
Wolfpack Sports Today is presented by Dreamfinders Homes. Homes built to fit your lifestyle. And now, here's Wolfpack Sports Today.
A change of scenery for NC State men's basketball. I'm Tony Haynes, and there's more to come.
Dreamfinders Homes is excited to announce their partnership with NC State Athletics as the official home builder sponsor of the Wolfpack.